Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Hivemind Radio recap. It is the official 1 year anniversary. We started this shit an entire year ago in April of 2020 when the world died. And now here we are a year later and the world is a little bit less dead. This is the Hivemind Radio recap. Thanks for tuning in. If this is your first episode or if you've been listening for a while, my name is Jake. I'm here with my good old pals Justin, Derek, and Jacob as per usual. And we have a stacked as fuck month to talk about. I think this is a record number of singles to talk about in a single month that we have done yet. So there is a very likely chance we are going for 3 hours, and I'm sorry about that.
I'm not.
You stole our introduction. How could you?
We talked about this before the episode. We were going to introduce ourselves. And
one at a time. Jake stole our thunder. Unbelievable.
Y'all can steal it back.
How are they gonna know? Okay, Justin, go ahead.
Hi.
God damn it.
So that's Justin. I'm Derek.
Hi.
God dang it, dude, it's so
And I'm Jake.
And this is why I do
to be
it.
confused with Jake.
Yeah, true. Also, occasionally Toby. It depends on how we're feeling.
Yeah.
And this is why I just go ahead and say everything in the introduction.
Oh man,
I can't trust y'all for anything, even a year into this.
I did mine fine. Okay, don't
I'll give you some
I
credit.
was confused that we were going back to it. I thought just like because of what we got, because this month is packed as shit.
Okay, so let's move on. We're wasting too much time here. To give you a sense of how much music we have planned to talk about today, I'm pretty sure the official count is 37 singles and 6 albums.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, and I left out at least 3 songs, so it could have been 40. You're welcome. Wait, I just realized that's a fucking pun. Moving on.
Oh no!
Moving on. If you want to keep up with, if you want to keep up with this podcast and what we do as 4 idiots. Follow on social media at Hivemind Radio _ on Instagram and Twitter, Hivemind Radio Recap on Spotify, Hivemind Radio on YouTube, and you will get these podcasts once a month, our monthly recaps, and the Hivemind After Hours, which our debut episode went live a little over 2 weeks ago, where we're going to be sitting down with artists and musicians and just talking about music, because why the hell not? We did the debut episode of Hivemind After Hours with Lurk, a couple weeks ago. You can go check that out if you want to. I thought it was a pretty fun episode, and they're also only an hour long.
Listen to this.
True.
After you listen to this.
After. They're also only an hour long, so much easier to listen to compared to these ridiculously long month-long recaps that we do.
True.
But with all that out of the way,
I was gonna say just kind of more like a 1 day sort of. I mean, if you're knocking out 3 hour episodes in 1 day, more power to you, right? But you got a whole month to take care of these.
Yeah,
you got 1 hour out of your day. Go listen to Hivemind After Hours. Easy to digest.
That's why they're called After Hours.
Exactly.
Listen to that.
Or should it be After Hour?
Now, After Hours just sounds better. It's a little late to change the name now.
Well, true. Yeah, you bring up a good point. Just go to the Microsoft Paint, scribble out the S on the thumbnail, re-upload it. Everything's fine.
I don't think there's too much more to announce other than the fact that this is 1 year of us doing this podcast, which is absolutely crazy to think about. So whether you're new here or if you've been around for longer, thanks for giving us a shot. We hope you've enjoyed whatever we have sent through your ears over the past year. And yeah, we're just gonna keep on rolling with it because there's so much good music coming out, and I think this month is evident of that. So I say,
why don't you tell me about some of that music?
Yeah, I say we get right into it with a new band for the podcast and a band that came out of retirement. Short Stack have a new song called "Burn You Down."
I'm just getting started. I just wanna burn you down tonight. I'm just getting started.
And so UNFD signed Short Stack to their label early March. Was the first song of the month, hence why we're talking about it first. I did a little bit of research. These guys have been around since like the early 2000s, and they have just like gone on hiatus for multiple years at a time, like 2 or 3 times now. So they're back again for like the 3rd time or whatever. And this song fucks. This song real good. Like,
It's surprisingly good.
We might be starting with my favorite song of the entire month. I ain't gonna lie.
Oh,
Don't go that far.
I don't like.
Far, sir.
I don't know if I'm ready to go that far, but I can say as a fact that this is the song that I played the most this month. It might not be my favorite song, but I have spent the most time with this song, albeit it was the first song released of the month, so numbers.
Yeah, there's only so much. There's only so much you can do in the first 2 weeks too.
Yeah.
It felt like.
Yeah.
Like compared to
the last 2 weeks, yeah.
Yeah.
Short Stack definitely just. I was on constant repeat with this song for like the first 2 weeks of the month, and even as the month went on, I still kept going back to it. And this, like, not only is the chorus just catchy as fuck, I just wanna burn you down tonight, and then it hits into the drop and whatever, and it's super catchy. The synths as well just add such a fun element to it. And then you get the breakdown. You get the breakdown too, which is also just like, it's nothing crazy. It's not even that long of a breakdown, but it's just nice. And like overall, it's just a perfect package.
Yeah, those electronic elements are really what made it stand out to me. Like I felt like some of the other like delivery and stuff is something I've heard before, but those electronic elements gave it that distinguishing factor that made you want to go back to it.
Definitely.
Like that's part of what got stuck in your head.
Not to mention the song's barely 3 minutes long, so it's super replayable.
Oh,
So
absolutely.
like you get done with it, and it's like, well, shit, I want to listen to it again. At least for me. So.
You know, I won't claim to have spent as much time with it as you have, but it's definitely a great song. It's put this band that I was previously unaware of on my radar. So thank you for sharing that.
I was totally unaware of this. UNFD is one of my favorite labels, and this is just another gem to come out of
They're
them.
going kind of crazy recently,
Yeah.
between new music release and new signings. Mm-hmm. I don't know, definitely keep an eye out on them. The band as well.
Sharp Tone as well. Like both of those have just been kind of the main players of record labels within the post-hardcore kind of punk rock.
I'm gonna
scene.
note on it later, but A Rising Empire has also been kind of
Rising Empire as well.
With that being said, do we want to move on?
I got nothing
this
else.
next
You pretty
song.
much said everything.
Alrighty then. So with all that being, I feel like I wanted to spend more time on that song for how much I loved it, but we got to keep the pace going.
We gotta keep
else-
schmoving.
We got to keep moving along, or else we're gonna end up in the catacombs. Catacombs. Fuck.
Catacombs, dude.
Fuck.
Dude, we are on song number 2 of the month, and you have already misread Catacombs. Where's the second O, bro? Huh? Absolutely not.
That was a cataclysmic disaster. of the site.
We're now the Catacomber podcast.
No. Oh.
You know what? I might have to employ the power of video editing for that one.
Fact, I'm thinking now that you've said that, Jacob, it makes me think of like some like stupid YouTuber who's got their name as like Catacomb YT or whatever. He's like, "What's up, my catacombers? It's your boy, Catacomb YT."
God, we don't have time for this.
Holy fuck! All right, since you royally fucked that transition, I'm taking over. Led by Lanterns have a new single out called Catacombs.
In the catacombs, and I don't think I'm alone. Just get me out.
Fellas,
I don't hear anymore. Where am I?
Banger.
You have to pay. You have to pay to get you.
Yeah,
That's true.
yeah.
That's
So
fair.
Derek, if I didn't hear you wrong there, you said the word banger.
Banger.
Yeah, let me
I said
echo
banger.
that one. This song banger.
True, Justin.
So good.
All right. Well, that wasn't what you were supposed to say, but we'll go with it, Jacob.
Yeet.
Well, we got 2 bangers in the chat, boys. We'll
You got
take
2
it.
bangers, a yeet, and whatever the hell Justin said. That you are gonna have to pay. You're gonna have to pay for whatever Justin said.
So
Yeah, exactly.
this is, I believe, is this the 3rd single, or is this actually
I
the?
have no idea. I think this is the first single for their upcoming debut album, because they announced the debut album without any single drop, and then they released this a few weeks later. But
Yeah,
this is on an EP with everything else they've released over the past 2 years, so I don't know what the situation with that is. But
I
this
believe
is like,
I believe they've actually called this the first single of the debut EP or debut album, which they have titled as "Paralyzed."
okay, yeah. Either way, this being the first song for that upcoming album is an incredible fucking sign to start off with.
Where the fuck did this come from? Like, if you go back and listen to all their songs, and you go to this, like, there is so much contrast.
Yeah. Led by Lanterns have been a band that I have been really enjoying for, like, a while now, for over a year. And this is just, like, far and away, like, the best thing they've ever done.
Yeah, I'd agree.
It's close between this and Disconnected, but both are so different that I kind of want to let them just share that same spot.
I still feel like this and Criminal kind of exist at the same time in my headspace.
Criminal's good, but Disconnected just has a different level of grooviness to it that has stuck with me for ages now. But anyway, Catacombs. This song is incredible. Like, I'm just going to go out and say it. This is going to be a sleeper top 10 album of the year pick. Led by Lanterns.
It has the potential.
Like
for sure.
Do not sleep on this band. This, like, I don't know what else to say. This song is just incredible.
I think we've just kind of spoken in general, but like some really good song, like points about this song. Like, there's fucking screams that if you go back and listen to the previous songs, you would have not recognized this at all.
Oh, yeah.
I think was it Criminal or Fever that had like a slight one in the breakdown.
Criminal did.
Criminal. Okay. This one just starts out with it and then goes into in the breakdown, and the instrumentals, it's so good.
Mm-hmm.
I am very excited.
The mixing and production on this song is top notch.
Oh yeah,
it just sounds
absolutely.
so clean. Led by Lanterns, a name not to sleep on for sure. I think that's the main thing I want anyone to be taking away from this, because they are criminally underrated.
For sure. Keep an eye out on them.
With that being said, let's move along. Being as an Ocean have a new song called Catch the Wind. And Jacob, if I'm not mistaken, this is a band that you're quite into.
I like
at least I've heard you talk about them more than the rest of us.
I like a few songs from their past album. I think this is more of a return to their older sound, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah, that was my impression of it too.
Which is not really my thing.
No. This is like, it's close to almost being boring. I feel like it's a good song and they're good musicians, but I feel like this song needs to have something more happen in it for it to be really like, it's trying to be low energy, but with like high energy elements, and it leaves me feeling kind of confused as to what I'm listening to for 4.5 minutes. Like there were some of those elements like on their last album. I remember listening to it when it came out, but like overall, I enjoyed most of that album. This, I'm just kind of like, right? Like I'm not super feeling it, which is not how I want to feel about what I assume is a lead single.
Don't fit with the back, like the music.
Yeah, that type of vocal delivery and that instrumentation only really works if there's some sort of like build up to an eventual like break, which doesn't really happen here. And again, like I said, it just kind of left me confused. I assume this is a lead single off of something. I don't want the lead single off of their next album leaving me confused. That doesn't build my hype up for an album. It's effectively the same as if I got a bad song, Escape the Fate, to lead off a new album. My hype levels have been diminished for an artist that I would have otherwise at least been sort of intrigued in. But again, I mean, I'm sure that there's plenty more singles coming up that will hopefully change my opinion on it, but as of right now, I'm not super feeling this song, or if this is what the album is going to sound like, the album.
Well, I think like with most of their fan base actually did not like the last album, so you and me are like the minority.
Right.
So like this is probably, for the regular Being as an Ocean fan, this is probably really nice to hear. So
oh yeah, for sure. I mean, it's already at what is it? A little over 500,000 on Spotify. In under a month, so like evidently it's doing numbers and people are enjoying it. Because was their 2019 album your first exposure to them as well?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's probably why we feel that way then. Yeah. We're not longtime fans. No, I enjoyed a lot of stuff in that previous album. With this, I'm not feeling so much.
I don't have too much to add. I only ever listened to like maybe one or two songs off of that 2019 album, and this one didn't really have much that stood out to me either. So
yeah. Speaking of Escape the Fate have put out a new song called Unbreakable. And it sucks.
Yep.
Yeah, kinda. I mean, like, this is the song that I almost just forgot existed this month. Like, when I went to put together the playlist for what we were going to be talking about this month, I kind of forgot that this song even happened. I remembered nothing about this song, which I can only say about one other song in this playlist. But, like, I went and re-listened to it, and it was better than I remembered it, but it's still not great. And that's kind of all I have to say about it.
Way too many second chances, and I'm lost. I'm like, I'm still gonna listen to the album, but God. Yeah.
Well, see, I think the thing that annoys me so much is that I didn't like Walk On. I didn't like, Not My Problem was okay. I really don't like this. But Invincible was actually really good. And so Escape the Fate have done me dirty in the sense that I am now effectively forced to listen to the album in hopes that I'll get another song like Invincible, even though I haven't liked the other 3 singles. It's mean.
I'm kind of in the same.
Is.
I'm in the same boat, except I liked Invincible and Not My Problem a fair bit.
Yeah.
So like I'm a little more optimistic, but still not very.
I know, just like as a fact, that Invincible is probably going to be the only song I like off that upcoming album. And I'm just going to have spent like however long, like 40 minutes of my time listening to 12 really mediocre songs. But alas, I've been drawn in, even though this is doing absolutely nothing for me. Mm-hmm. It's just so unbelievably mediocre, I feel like, it sucks because I know what this band is capable of, having been a fan of some of their older material, and this is just not it.
And like even like being a fan of Invincible and Not My Problem, like they have potential now to be doing better stuff than this.
Yeah. Yeah, and again, Invincible in aspects, for me at least, of Not My Problem do prove that. So even though I know they're not what they're going to used to be, they still have potential to be good with their newer kind of direction. And like you said, they still chose to put this out, which is just an affront to the band's discography, in my opinion. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe the album will just turn around and it'll be 8 great non-singles, and Escape the Fate will have Album of the Year. Who knows? It could happen. Stranger things have happened.
Doubtful.
Oh, for sure. But there's potential, and that's what counts.
Speaking of potential, let's move on to this next single. What do you say?
Factual.
Against the Current have put out a new song called Weapon. And we missed talking about their debut, or not their debut single, the first single for this album cycle, That Won't Save Us, back in, what was it, late October, November, right around
something
then?
like that, yeah.
And we missed it for whatever reason. And that was a really good song. And then this comes out, and it is following in That Won't Save Us's footsteps, for sure.
I don't think that this is quite as good as That Won't Save Us, but it's still really good, and it's got me excited for an Against the Current album for like the first time ever. So I remember when Past Lives, their last album, came out, I saved a couple off of that and I really enjoyed it. But I didn't have any expectations going into it, because I hadn't heard any of their previous material at the time. This is the first Against the Current release that I can truly say that I'm very excited for. And it comes off of the wake of a lot of popularity given from something. I think it's got to do with League of Legends that they had a song for.
Legends Never Die.
Yeah, that's like 250 million.
Yeah, that song goes hard if you haven't heard it.
Oh no, for sure.
It's a great song.
I love it.
But either way, like, they're Against the Current on the up and up.
Exactly. Don't sleep. I mean, obviously it's not really like good. You can. Right.
I hold like a slightly contrasting opinion too, where I think this song is just slightly better than That Won't Save Us. That Won't Save Us is more rock influenced, whereas this one I think is more pop rock almost. But like the catchiness to this song kind of just hooks me in. Yeah, it's like super bouncy and super fun and super replayable, and that's what I have come to appreciate this song for. And
they do a great job of balancing the pop and rock elements, I feel like. I mean, it reflects in their monthly listeners, right? With that 4 million number. I mean, it's like, I said don't sleep. It's hard to necessarily sleep on a band with 4 million followers, but it's less in the sense of like listen to them before they get big, and more in the sense of if you've put off listening to this band before, don't, because they've got 2 great singles off of what is playing out to be a really great album.
Yeah, definitely.
Speaking of singles leading up to what could be a great album, Our Hollow, Our Home, a British metalcore band, have put out their newest single entitled Overcast. Jake, you haven't been super feeling aspects of this band.
Yeah.
Has that changed?
Not yet.
Okay, so it's still the uncleans for you, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
I'm kind of the same way. I can get over the uncleans. It's I don't know. It's something about the delivery.
Mm-hmm.
So I hadn't been able to put my finger on why almost every single time Our Hollow, Our Home put out a song, I listen to it and I love it. And then I listened to it about 10 more times and I unsave it and boot it out of my playlist. And I didn't figure out why until this song. For me, I'm the opposite as Jake. I like the uncleans. I don't like the cleans.
Oh, I love the cleans.
The
so
Queens
much.
are great.
Well, here's my problem. Any given vocal delivery, whether it be the uncleans or the cleans, in every single Our Hollow, Our Home song sounds one-noted.
Yeah,
I can kind of
It could be the cleans are one-noted and the uncleans have depth, which is how I feel about this song. Or it could be that the cleans have a ton of depth, but the uncleans feel very one-noted, which is how I feel about that previous single that came out before this. And so I'm left with every song that they release thinking, this is mostly really good. There is some vocal aspect of this that it's not even necessarily like that the cleans or uncleans are bad, because I think that every member of this band is extremely talented, but something always feels one-noted and it's throwing me off.
I actually agree with that.
Yeah. I can kind of see it.
If I could have every vocalist, I guess it would be both vocalists technically, but both vocalists in this band just do everything that they could on any given song, this is like AOTY potential. Because even like the singles, I'm not unsaving them because I think they're bad or even not good. I think they're all really good, but there's some part of it that bothers me enough once I notice it that I'm like, I can't have this saved anymore. I can't listen to it because something that gets pointed out. It's like completely unrelated, but Frozen One by Dance Gavin Dance, I had to take out of my playlist because it mentioned the game. Sorry, by the way, I just lost the game. But it would mention the game in the lyrics, and I would lose the game every time I listened to it, so I had to kick it out of my playlist. It's the same sort of thing here. That like once I notice that discrepancy or that one-noted thing, I can't keep it in there anymore. But all that to say that I think that this is a really good song, and if that sort of thing doesn't bother you, then go check it out, because this band I feel like deserves more attention. Mm-hmm. It's just for me that's something I noticed, and it's kind of affected the way that I listen to this single and the other ones.
Yeah, for me, it's still just the uncleans have not clicked with me.
Mm-hmm.
Just something about the delivery of them just doesn't work for me.
Yeah.
And I can appreciate everything else that this band does, but I think there's potential for me to like a song or two off of this upcoming album. Maybe even more than that. But we'll have to see when we get there. Like, even though I haven't really been going back to much of their singles, there's still a band that I'm paying attention to because the potential is there.
Yeah.
So that's all I got to say.
Let me tell y'all about this next single. Novelists have a new single out called Terrorist.
Dude, this album is gonna be so good.
Yeah, this is shaping up to be a good ass album.
This song is so fucking good. So good.
Yeah.
I love it. I wasn't super high on the last Novelist single. I thought it was good, not great. This is probably my top 3 favorite singles of the month. Maybe top 2. Definitely top 2.
This is my top 1.
Oh, for sure. Hey, what you eating, bro? I gotta know. Tell the people.
Salad.
Ooh, banger. No, I think this song is really good on its own, fellas. That bluesy guitar solo kicks in, and it's
Yeah.
like I had an out of body experience. Like the
Yeah,
first
this
time I heard
guitar's-
it.
the guitar solo is just nuts.
Another selling point for the song is that little like emo angsty I want the voice to be dead that he does in the chorus. Something about that, I'm like, not that it necessarily resonates with me, but like I hear that and my ears are like, this good. Like I like this, right?
Dude,
Like,
also the start of the song sounds like something Northlane put out from their Alien album.
you know, I hadn't made that comparison, but now that you say that, I see it and I like it.
I wouldn't know because I didn't listen to that Northlane album. Oops.
Yeah, no, this French
The
band's
Sorry.
going crazy this month. I gotta say.
Speaking of the vocals, the Tobias, the vocalist of Novelists, is going to feature in the new Galleons album that we'll be talking about in for the May recap, and we'll probably touch a bit more on Galleons later.
Yep.
Yeah, for sure.
But the vocal delivery in this, just mixed with the mix of the heavy vocals with the bassy guitar riff, just it's really good.
Yeah,
really good
this,
song.
this
The
song
one
is
thing
phenomenal.
that stood out to me the most from this song, other than the chorus, which is like pretty darn catchy for a pretty heavy song, it's the second verse where it's like something all in my fucking head, and then the guitars. I don't know if it's distortion or reverb, but it just sounds like it's just so fat. That's all I can say. It's
This
just
song
like
is
it's
fat.
a fat guitar riff.
Uh-huh.
And
This
I
gives
love
me
it.
this gives me Ice Nine Kills, fuck was it? Rocking the Boat. Kind of like that.
Huh.
Okay.
Or like the we're under attack.
Okay.
Kind of reminds me of like
I
Oh,
can see
the end
it.
part.
okay.
I can see it. I
Rocking
can
the
see
boat.
it.
I'm with you.
Yeah.
I'm with you.
I
And we
can
just
see it.
mentioned like 3 different
Yeah.
bands that we're going to be talking about later.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably.
That's kind of crazy.
Yeah, this song is great. Like Tobias is a vocalist that I wasn't like that high on. Like he featured on the Future Palace album last year, and I thought it was like an okay feature at best. And then wasn't he a part of Alaska? Like before
Yes.
that broke up.
It,
And I heard,
it
like,
was originally Alaska. Yes.
yeah, I had only heard like a song or two from them, and I wasn't really hooked. These past 2 singles with him as the new vocalist of Novelists have just been fantastic.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's too much more to be said about this one.
No, we got another single, Jake. I think you got to tell us about this
Yeah, Scarlet Riot. They have a new song and a new album coming out. The new song is called Stronger. And this is coming off of an album coming out in May called Invicta. I actually have quite a storied history of Scarlet Riot, which I think I've described before. I've been listening to them since 2017, when I was still like pretty early into getting into rock and metal as a whole. And at the time, like female vocals without any like screamer vocals behind it and heavier instrumentals was something I was really into. And Scarlet Riot kind of just fit that bill for me. And over the years, I think I have found bands better than them, and I have since fallen out of love with them. But I think they're still like putting out solid material. Like this is not my favorite song of the month by any means. Like it's one of the less notable ones in my opinion, but by no means is it bad. And this band is like, I want to say as good as ever. Like I don't think this song is like a dip in their discography at all. I think it's just another solid song from them. But I'm looking for more than just solid out of Scarlet Riot at this point.
Yeah, you've about summed up how I feel about it. I think this is just good. Like it's good, but there's nothing really here that stands out to me. This to me sounded like a female version of maybe like a Skillet, or even some of the most recent Escape the Fate stuff that we've gotten recently. In that it feels like very upbeat, generic kind of hard rock sort of thing, which you know, I think it's very interesting too, because Skillet and Escape the Fate were both bands that I was really into like you mentioned, when you first got into sort of the heavier side of music. And then as time has gone on, I've kind of fallen out of love with them because I found things that have expanded upon their sound. And I can totally see where you're coming from with this.
The one thing that I will always give this band credit for is the instrumentals. This band has always like excelled instrumentally, in my opinion, with their like guitar and drum work.
Oh yeah, for sure. No, I think that the instrumentals here are really, really good. It's just missing a little bit, like the song overall is missing a little bit of oomph. Yep. That I would like to see.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't got too much more to say. And given how much we have to talk about this month, I think I'm ready to move on.
Yeah, for sure. There's
take this one.
Yeah, for sure. Sullivan King has a new song out featuring Spencer Sharness of Ice Nine Kills entitled Venomous.
If it keeps me alive, I don't feel looking down. You made us easy.
I have expressed in the past that I am not a huge fan of Ice Nine Kills, but by God, Sullivan King never misses. I love this man. How familiar are you guys with Sullivan King?
Not familiar at all.
Yeah, it was this song, and then I looked at like one other song you put out, and that's kind of it. And I like this one a lot more than that other one I heard. I'll say that much.
Yeah, I was pleasantly surprised by this.
Definitely.
This is good.
Yeah. I think it's interesting to me because I barely even noticed the Spencer Sharness feature in this song.
I can't find it.
It's at the end, I'm pretty sure. It's like the bridge before the final chorus, I'm pretty sure. Like, I was listening to it earlier today to try and find it, and I'm pretty sure it's the bridge before the final chorus where Spencer comes in.
It is.
But it's not super noticeable, which I think is a bit of a shame because Spencer is such a talented vocalist, and I think you could have done more with him. But either way, this song is still great, so I don't know how much I should be complaining.
I think that's really interesting that you guys couldn't pick it up because I picked it out on first listen. I think it's really obvious.
Interesting.
But so Sullivan King is a dubstep producer. He does anything. He does a lot of melodic stuff, but he does a lot of stuff in terms of like rhythm as well.
Is he like a Keizo kind of thing?
Kinda, but he also does vocals and guitars.
Okay.
Like he plays the guitar. Like Keizo, to my understanding, a lot of what he does is outsourced to other guitarists or is made electronically. Sullivan King plays guitar for songs or gets other people to feature on it, and he does a lot of the own vocals for his songs and gets a lot of features on them as well. He's honestly one of my favorite dubstep artists out there because of his wide range. He was one of the first people actually to bring like guitars and unclean vocals into the dubstep scene, like that side of the electronic music. So not that he was necessarily a pioneer for that sound, but he was one of the first people to like popularize it, I guess. Like he had stuff coming out, I think as early as 2017 in that vein on Monster Cat. And I remember at the time, a lot of people in the comments were like, I've never heard anything like this before. Like, this is really good. I didn't think I would ever like, metal, but here I am listening to these unclean vocals. And that led to the one that comes to mind most notably is like that Slander song with Asking Alexandria, where it's sort of expanded. Anyway, I digress. I really like this artist, and I think
the lightning, the thunder.
Yeah, what is it? I bring the lightning to the ground, kneel before me, I think is what it is.
Kneel before me, that's what it's called.
Yeah. But not to say it, I think this song is really good. I think Sullivan King is a tried and true artist, and as much as I don't like Ice Nine Kills, mainly for the theming, I think that Spencer Sharness has a wonderful voice, and I think that, to me at least, it was on pretty good display here. I will say that because of how well Sullivan King has utilized unclean vocals into heavier EDM songs in the past, I would have almost preferred that this was a heavier song, in the same sort of thing as that Kneel Before Me song, where it's like Danny Warsnop has cleans, and then right before the drop, he switches to uncleans. That maybe have something like that here, where Spencer is singing cleans all the way up to the drop, drops some uncleans, we get a heavy drop. I think that would have almost worked better because Spencer has such a wide range, but given what we have here, I'm happy with it.
Absolutely. I don't know if there's too much more to say. You kind of said most of what could be said about this song.
Sorry. I like Sullivan King a lot. That's on me.
That's fair enough. This next one's a bit of a special one.
Ooh.
We have Scion, aka Howard Jones and Jared Dines, working on a new project with a new song called The Blade. I'm just gonna open up by saying, is this breakdown of the year? Does this song have the best breakdown of the year so far?
I don't know about
Is
that.
that a stretch?
No.
I
Not
think
a
that there's
stretch.
a whole album with breakdowns better than this one that we'll
Okay.
talk about later. But
I just want to mention how fucking crazy the first breakdown of this song is.
yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
my
it's-
God,
Mhm.
it's filthy.
The landmark song, the single "Lost in the Waves," too good.
Oh, true. True.
I'm
yeah,
still
that is
not
another-
that high on that song, unfortunately.
You don't have to be high on the
so-
song to appreciate the breakdown.
Okay, sure, fair.
Actually, no. There's another single like 4 songs ahead of this that had a better breakdown. Yeah, I don't know about that one, Jake. That is a bold claim. I'll give you top 10. I'll give you top 10. Maybe.
For my
Top 20.
taste, Top
50?
this is the best breakdown I have heard this year so far. I think.
Okay.
I'll say that. Not the objective best, the subjective best, in my opinion. We'll leave it at that.
No, I'll have
Also-
to say this is a
Nah.
good song.
No, you're wrong,
No.
Jake. So that's all.
that's,
There's so many.
point.
There's so many songs coming to mind right now. Just like nope.
Yeah, if you had left that and not given us time to think about it, we may have agreed with you. But like, as you've got the 2 people who are probably highest on metalcore, they're just sitting here now thinking about ways to prove you wrong.
Yeah.
Jacob later of the podcast can be like, no, Jake, no, you're still wrong.
Yeah, exactly. We're just gonna go through and write down all the songs from here on out that have better breakdowns than this one. But
I'm thinking the Impermanence Architects, just out the one that's
Oh,
out of
sure.
nowhere.
Oh yeah.
I don't even remember what that song sounds like at this point.
Okay, buddy.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
So Jake's
I have
opinion
bad
entirely
opinion.
discarded.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about this song.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I've never been a huge fan of Killswitch Engage or older Killswitch Engage with Howard Jones, but I will say his voice is incredible here. It's epic.
Yeah.
Is the way that I would put
Yeah.
it. It's
Epic
just
is
an
a great
epic
way to word
delivery. Somebody, I can't remember who it was. Somebody said that he could command armies with his voice, and I thought that was a very accurate
Yeah.
description of his delivery here. Like
That's totally
it's just,
fair.
It's very power metal esque.
yeah.
Yeah.
The cleans. Sorry, the cleans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, no, not the instrumentals. Although that solo was really good. That was sort of maybe power metal-esque if you squint. Yeah, no, just every aspect of the song I feel like works well together. It's just really, really good.
Even lyrically, like
Yeah,
I didn't pick up on it at first, but the chorus is like, when you lose all feeling, I am the blade, where I think you can kind of interpret what that's hinting at.
Yeah.
It's not something I picked up on at first. I was like, I am the blade, like that's kind of cheesy, but then like the rest of the lyrics clicked and I'm like, oh, I get it now.
Yeah.
But like, this is just a super cohesive song that's well put together on every front.
Hearing this song live, I think I'd lose my mind.
True.
I don't know if I
Nerve.
would play.
Oh?
I was just gonna say, I don't know if I would place much money on a live show of this song happening.
No,
But
No.
probably not.
Well, it depends on how far the project goes, because there have been plenty of projects like this that put out an EP and then, artists have other commitments and it all goes the other direction, but I don't know. We'll see.
yeah. Anyway, what you were saying, Derek?
I was gonna say, yeah, Nerve have a new single out entitled "Not the One."
Tell me how I was never enough. Save your breath, 'cause I'm running.
Which is a follow-up to Bad Nature, and I believe is the second single off of their newest upcoming album.
Yep, correct.
How are we feeling about this one?
This has potential to be an album, like top 5 albums for me.
I'm putting it in the same vein as a Led by Lanterns that we mentioned earlier, where the singles aren't entirely selling me on top 10 potential, but with time and the rest of the album, I think Jake mentioned it, that it's definitely a sleeper.
Yeah,
It's a sleeper pick for top 10.
that's how I'm
for me.
Oh
feeling.
yeah,
I think
definitely.
between this and Bad Nature, I would take Bad Nature any day. I feel like that one
I-
has a
I
lot
agree.
more to offer than this one.
I agree.
But by no means is this not the one a bad song. It has
not at
clean
all.
production. Vocal delivery is as good as ever. Might not be like as there might not be as much range as there was on Bad Nature, but it's still just a solid song overall. I feel like this is like, I almost want to say it's a filler track, but like it's better than being a filler track. But I feel like this is one of those songs that like, it's not supposed to be a standout song from the album, if you're asking me. It's supposed to kind of... It's supposed to just work in the album, I think, is how I would interpret this song.
Yeah.
So that kind of ties back to the point of this is going to be a sleeper contender for some of the best albums of this year.
I'd put this on the same vein as like War from Traceless, where it's, you know, there isn't so much to it to kind of separate it from what's already been released, but as a whole, it's fairly easily repeatable.
Oh yeah, it's definitely very repeatable. It's not even 3 minutes long.
No.
But I don't think it has as much to offer as their previous singles, and that's not a jab at this song. That's just me being very high on everything else I've heard from them.
And I agree to that. I still say if Helpless was on here, Helpless would top these three, but they're not putting Helpless on the album. It makes me sad.
So the other problem with this song is that this song released in the Insanity week is what I'm going to call it. The week of Insanity. This was the first single to drop that week. The first of, if the math is right, something like 14 or 15 singles are all... The next 14 or 15 songs we're talking about all released within 2 to 3 days.
That was so overwhelming.
Yeah,
there was like 3 albums that day too.
Yep, it was... It was just madness.
I'm glad I chose Sleep over that.
I did too, but it was still overwhelming the next few days.
Yeah, exactly. But like, I almost feel like this song has a bad rep in my mind just due to the timing of release and not due to the quality of how good it is. And that's
I'm
like,
sure with
I hate to blame it on that, but in all honesty, I think that's what I have to put it on. So,
and I think with context of the album, I think that will be quelled.
Yep. With that being said, let's get on with this week of Insanity coming up. While She Sleeps put out another new single for their upcoming album called Nervous, featuring Simon Neil.
This Simon Neil guy gets around.
He has been getting around lately.
Yeah,
Architects Now This?
He's next he's gonna be in Our Hollow Our Home. He's all over the British metalcore scene.
That would be kind of wild, actually.
Next he's gonna Bring Me the Horizon song. But this song's
good. Yeah, I enjoyed this much more than You Are All You Need.
I disagree with that, but
I do too.
I definitely enjoyed this much more than that last single, and I think this song kind of feels more emotional. It has that emotional tone to it that works for me. Yeah, I don't know. It just all kind of works for me. It's not a song that I listen to all that much, but everything just came together nicely in a way that it's like, compared to You Are All You Need, where there were moments that, like, in the vocal delivery that just didn't click with me, this song just works. And I liked it. And it also has a pretty neat breakdown by the end of it, which has some strange elements to it that make it, like, you listen to it and it's like, yo, they did that? Okay, then. Like, I don't know if it's just me, but the breakdown was really fun, and it wasn't like a typical breakdown that kind of threw you for a loop.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. That it's funny that you mentioned that sort of kind of different, unique elements, because that's how I felt about You Are All You Need. Right? Like that's part of what makes me like it so much, and I'm not feeling it as much on this song. I don't know. It's interesting that we have the same exact thoughts, but on 2 different songs.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
all I know is I'm nervous.
Dude, I like your delivery more than his.
No, you
to be honest,
don't.
I do, because I don't like While She Sleeps. I'm sorry, but I don't like this song. I'm gonna be like upfront and honest about it. I'm back to not liking While She Sleeps. You Are All You Need gave me hope. I love that song, but I can't do it. I will say Simon Neil is on a tear right now, bro. Between the Architects album and this, I don't know when all of a sudden, like, everybody decided that it was time to have a Simon Neil feature of all people. But
were you here when I was saying it's all British metalcore?
No,
you missed it.
Oh damn.
Yeah, we're gonna get Simon Neil on the next Posthuman EP.
Yeah, exactly. Dude, bring me with Simon Neil. I will say, despite not like really being able to appreciate, for me, it's the vocals. I mean, it always has been the vocals. I love everything about this band except really the vocals. You Are All You Need being the exception. I will give this song points for creating a great atmosphere. I feel like between the instrumentals
I think
and
that's
the
what it
vocals.
does best.
Music video does that too.
Yeah, for sure. It was a neat music video. I liked it.
Let's talk about the Simon Neil feature though, because
It's really good.
yeah, it's good, but it just feels strange to me in the way they incorporated it. Like the first time he comes in, is he just says like "I'm nervous" before the chorus, and it's like I feel like that's a strange way to just insert a feature. And it like now that I know it's there, it's like I'm used to it. But like when I heard that on first listen, I'm like, huh? Like that's kind of strange, and I don't know if I get it. And I feel like he doesn't really get like a consistent space where it's just him. Like wherever he's a feature, he's like harmonizing with the other vocals of the vocalist of While She Sleeps. I don't know. It was just kind of a strange feature to me. It works, but it was strange.
Yeah, well, I was gonna say that like it works, and I almost appreciate it more because it feels more unique, and that it's not like a traditional feature. But it's like that's I feel like I bring this song up every time we mention a good feature, but Tellian on that I the Mighty song, what is it, Silver Tongues, that like they split the song in half. I prefer features where it's something more unique like this, or artists are sharing the space between the two rather than the traditional, maybe I'm giving you a bridge or just one verse.
Like
right?
Evaporate with Andrew L.
Yeah,
It's all
exactly. No, I do. I think I almost, not necessarily that I like the feature more, but I appreciate it more because of the way it's presented.
Yeah. I don't got too much more to say. So
When does this album release?
April. It's coming out in a few weeks, I'm pretty sure.
Oh shit, is it really?
I
No,
think
it's oh god, April 26th? I think? Something like I think it's the
not-
last April of the month.
It's not the
Isn't it?
26th because the 23rd is the big
That would be a
feature.
Monday. Yeah, it's the 23rd. I'm pretty sure. It's either the 23rd or the 16th. It's one of the two. It's not next week.
Nice.
Holding Absence is the 16th, if I'm not mistaken. I feel more confident in knowing that one than While She Sleeps.
All this to say that April is just also stacked.
Yeah.
Born of Osiris are back for the first time in
A
2
long time.
years.
We're waiting for Simulation Part 2.
For sure. They got their new single out entitled White Nile. Keeping with the Egyptian theme going here. How are we feeling about this one?
I enjoyed this a lot more than I expected to.
I was very genuinely surprised when you said that you liked this.
Yeah.
Like,
I kind
This
of
is-
was too.
This is borderline deathcore.
yeah. It's borderline deathcore with gent elements, which is like,
Yeah.
I don't think that I have ever seen Jake truly enjoy anything of what I just listed.
Yeah.
Right? So,
But, like,
like,
The vocal delivery didn't entirely put me off here.
Didn't you like the Veil of Maya single from last year?
Outside, I liked the Queen vocals in the chorus, but
Okay.
the unclean harsh vocals put me off.
I
Whereas
will even-
with this one, like I kind of like I didn't love them, but I wasn't put off by them either.
This is really funny to me because if you had given me this blind playlist and I didn't know about like any of how you felt about any of these songs, and you told me pick the one song out of this list that you know for sure I won't like, I would pick this song 11 times out of 10. So I think it's really interesting that you like it so much. I think you're higher on this song than I am, which is like
I mean, I've only gone back to it like twice, maybe. It's not even in my playlist. I'm just saying that I liked it more than I expected it to.
The instrumentals are what sell this for me. The instrumentals have always been what sell me on Born of Osiris.
Oh,
Lee-
no. I like the dual vocalists.
Really? Okay. See, the
I
vocals
guess
are the
it's
weakest
because
point
seeing
for
them
me.
live, it's like seeing them go back and forth is so cool.
See, that I think that that's the sort of experience that's making me miss out on this band as much as I want to, because to me, I'm not super sold on the vocals. And it's not because they're too heavy. I just, for whatever reason, they're not clicking with me. I am convinced that this band exists solely for Lee McKinney to flex on everybody. Like, the guitarist. Like, he's one of the best guitarists I know. Like, for sure. Like, he tries... I feel like it's just a constant competition, song to song, of him trying to one-up himself on how, like, technical and genty he can make any one given song. Like, that was how I felt about Simulation. I feel like it's the same sort of thing here. I mean, it's just... I just kind of sat there and listened to the guitars, and I was like, damn. Right? Like, it's not necessarily impressive in the traditional sense, like somebody pulls out a 2-minute guitar solo, and you're just sitting there, like, blown back by it, but it's technical enough that it surprised me. I don't know. I really enjoyed the instrumentals in this. I'm Born of Osiris is doing a good job on making me want to listen to whatever this is a part of upcoming. I believe it's a new album. But I don't have any like. I hope it is
part of the Simulation or whatever.
I'm not entirely convinced that wasn't a joke. That or
like,
they had
in
it.
2019,
and they
they're like, "Oh, we're gonna make this album. We're gonna make this album's only like 9 songs because we're gonna release another one at the end of the year." That's what they said.
I'm wondering if at this point they like had like 75% of those 9 songs done, and then COVID hit, and they were like, "Shelve it, drop it all, trash it. We're starting over." And this is like the lead single.
Was 2020. They were supposed to release it 2019. Anyways.
Well, yeah, but that's what I'm saying. I'm wondering like if they were writing it and finalizing it towards the end of 2019. Actually, yeah, that's a good point. What the fuck are they doing? What's Simulation Part 2? I had my timeline messed up. I forgot they were doing that by the end of the year. I thought it might have been early 2020 slated release. Yeah. Man, feeling let down. I could use some more gent in my life. But I mean, yeah, this is good. I'm personally am looking for just a little bit more to be entirely sold on it, but at the very least, I'm looking forward to the next single, which means that this single did its job.
I don't have much more to add. I feel like I kind of just said that I surprisingly enjoyed this one, and that's kind of all I have to say about it.
What about the next one? Did you enjoy this one?
Let's get into this next one. Yeah.
Yes. Termina has released a new single called "The Edge of Time."
Watch over me. I'm in the car, I so
Derek, this one's gonna throw you for a loop, but I was more off put by Andy Cizik's harsh vocals in this one than Born of Osiris.
I don't like Andy Cizik's harsh vocals, so I'm right with you.
All right, cool.
But
so, is this where we just talk about the breakdown for the next 2 minutes? Is that the part that we're getting into?
Well, I was going to say that even though I don't like Andy Cizik's harsh vocals, I really love this song. It's sort of like, it's the same sort of thing that I tell my friends when I'm trying to get them into heavier music. The way I introduce it is, you like the clean vocals, think of the unclean vocals as a reward to get to the clean vocals, and then you won't mind them as much. That's how I feel at Andy Cizik's Uncleans. I'm not super sold on them, but I really like the melody chorus, and of course, speaking of breakdowns that are better than the one in The Blade, we got the filthiest breakdown I have heard in a long time. It's so good. I'd contender with Lost in a Wave for best breakdown of the year so far, I think.
I think I can give you some points for that in that this breakdown is filthy, but I enjoy listening to the one in The Blade more than I did this one. Is that just another bad opinion?
I think so. But I mean, we
I'll go hide in my corner then. That's fine.
At least you have brutal honesty.
Yeah, true, exactly. Jacob and I expressed before how we felt about your opinion. So
Jake, you're wrong.
Exactly. Facts. Tell him. No, Jacob, tell me about this song. Tell me about how you're feeling about this. Yo, you okay?
Is that you trying to do a breakdown?
Dude, Jacob has fucking died.
I'm having a breakdown.
Bro, it's a horrible thing to joke about, but imagine like you walk into like one of those psychiatric hospitals or whatever, right? And it's just like a bunch of people like crawled up in a corner just going like they're all just doing unclean vocals quietly to themselves like in a corner. Like, what are they doing? Oh, that guy's having a breakdown. Like
Oh my God.
Oh
Yeah,
man.
it's good. I think if I'm gonna compare it to the Born of Osiris single, I like the Born of Osiris single better.
Okay.
But it's good.
This to me is
Also worth mentioning, this is off of an album coming out in April, I think, right?
yes, it is.
I don't
I'm
know
very
when, but
excited.
Termina album coming soon, eventually.
This to me is like I don't know. I like Andy Cizek, right? Part of what he has got. You know what? How I feel about Our Hollow, Our Home is how I feel about Andy Cizek's vocals. I just realized. Holy shit! I've unlocked the mystery line. Case closed. Case closed. I don't have to think about this in the shower anymore. Because I was thinking. I was sitting in the shower the other day thinking to myself because "Let Go" by Makari came on. I'm like, why don't I like the rest of Makari's material? And it's because to me, a lot of his vocal delivery sometimes can feel very one-noted, despite the fact that he's doing a lot with his voice. And I think that's how I feel about his uncleans here, but not about his cleans because there's enough melody to drive him in the chorus. Huh.
I think I can agree with a lot of that, actually.
Sorry, it's just the ramblings of a madman at this point. I'm like unlocking things in my head. Like as I go,
putting
they're just coming out of my
pieces
mouth.
together.
Yeah, exactly. The mental puzzle pieces are all coming together. I've got it now, fellas. We're good. Oh shit.
Anything more to be said on this one?
Guitar work. No, just...
Yeah, Nick going crazy on the guitar. The melody and the lead guitar is crazy. I love it.
Actually, I do want to mention that it was hilarious when Nick uploaded a reaction to his own song.
Yeah,
I thought that was some A+ shit.
It's so meta.
It's so good.
Is this like out of all the singles that we're gonna talk about? This to me was the top 5 of the month. Also sitting in my top 5 singles of the month, and the next song here, the first debut single from Concrete Castles, entitled "Just a Friend."
Me for that. He said she's just a friend. Don't let it get into your head. I'll always love you and I'll never place you.
Who
Context.
are also first to 11.
Yeah, so this is First to 11 originals now. First to 11 had a couple original songs under their name, but since they're like 99% a cover band, I guess they wanted to distance their original material and also get their original material on a label or something.
Right.
They probably couldn't get all the covers on a label or whatever. But yeah, Concrete Castles is First to 11, but originals, and it's great.
It is so good.
Yeah, I found First to 11. They did a cover of Diary of Jane at some point last year, and I was like,
I gotta listen to that.
yeah, they did a cover of Diary of Jane, and I was like, okay, this is good. And I've kind of like kept a note on them that like they exist, but I haven't really listened to them all too much. And then I hear word that they're going to be putting out an original song, and I'm like, okay, I gotta hear this. And this is just some incredible pop rock. This is super fun and just so well done across the board.
This is probably the best example I've heard of a band that does predominantly covers incorporating that own like pop sensibility into their music. Like we've got Fame on Fire and Our Night, which they've both done a decent job of it. I think Fame on Fire previously would have held that title. This is like, if I didn't know that they had already had a lot of like cover material put out, and I just heard this and I'm like, oh, this is their debut single, this would be the most obvious like industry plant that I've ever seen in my life. Like they're so good, like quote unquote out the gate. This inspired me to go and look at First to 11. And I looked at like the list of covers that they've put out, and I like almost every single song that they've covered, like the original. B, have wanted like this sort of like soft pop rock cover of those songs for the longest time, and C, know what I'm doing later tonight. Seriously, it is. I'm telling you right now, if this project right here, like not the First to 11, but Concrete Castles, doesn't have anywhere from 200 to 600K monthly listeners by the end of the year, I owe everybody in this podcast $5. I have no doubt in my mind that this is going to pop off. Depends on what is less by the end of the year.
So Canadian.
We're printing a lot of stimmies here, man. I don't know. $5 could be $2 by the end of the year. Who knows? But all that to say that this is incredible pop rock. This band has just the greatest amount of potential to pop off. Someone needs to sign them as soon as humanly possible.
I'm pretty sure they are
Give them
signed.
money.
I'm pretty
They
sure
are?
they are signed. Yeah.
Oh, thank God. Okay.
I'm pretty sure that like they announced this project as they signed to a label or whatever.
Yes,
So, like this
they
is
are.
this has probably been in the
Velocity
works.
Records. Velocity Records. Let me see who else is on here real quick and see if this makes sense. Kind of like how Water Parks is on the same label as like Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion. Like that sort of thing that this band needs lots and lots of money. Oh, okay. So Velocity Records is Drugs, Destroy Your Build Until God Shows, Scary Kids Scaring Kids, and Secrets.
Interesting.
So this band entirely different than the three I just mentioned.
Yeah.
You know, it works.
Yeah.
It works.
The song's great.
As long as they're getting signed, as long as they're getting attention. If you haven't heard this, please go check it out. It's so good, so replayable.
I also the last thing I want to mention is that not to mention like her vocals are fantastic, but the drum work in the song was also just like very precise. I think is the best way to put it. Where like it felt like every drum beat like served the purpose of the song.
Exactly.
And like added to it, especially in the pre-chorus where I believe it's like the kick drums or whatever that like added like some depth and atmosphere to it that I really appreciated.
Yeah, just so much. So you know what this is? This is good fucking music.
Heyo!
Speaking of good fucking music, we couldn't go one podcast episode without mentioning them.
We did go.
We
did in January.
Yep, we didn't mention them in January.
Oh, thank God. Well, you know what? We're updating the board. Days without a workplace Solence mention, 0. Because Solence are back.
Have a new song called "Good Effing F." Asterisk King music.
Put your headphones on and come on and sing along. All you need is just some good fucking music that you have bang to forget all your problems and was
Man, I hate it here.
It is so hard.
Justin's like, yeah, that's it. We mentioned Solence. I've had enough. This? No, go ahead.
I cannot believe I'm going to say this.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Oh, don't say about this one.
No, I have to because the music video is so good. I love this
Okay.
song.
We're on the same page.
Okay.
I think I might be taking it a step further because this is the second best song Solence has put out since that record.
No. Why? Well, okay. Since that record, I'll agree with that.
If we're taking in the 7 songs they put out last year, Direction, then this, then Paralyzed.
I would have said Paralyzed in Direction. Than this.
It's so bad that it's good.
Yes.
So this song is on like 3 levels of irony, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Right? Like we're okay. I'm with you.
Justin and I, we had a discussion on Twitter about this song when the night it came out, and I'm like, here's my stance on this. This song's fun as fuck, and it's like the lyrics are so first grade level that like,
and it's catchy.
like, and it's catchy as fuck. It's first grade level lyricism, but it works, and that's like they're not trying to do anything better than that. This is just what they're trying to make. They wanted to write a song that is just like, you know what? Here's some good fucking music. You're going through shit. Here you go. Have some good fucking music, and like, it just worked. Like this song, like after the first listen, I already had that chorus stuck in my head. All you need is just some good fucking music that you head bang to, and like it's just. It's not trying to be an impressive song. It's trying to be a memorable song in the sense that it gets stuck in your head. And it just does that.
And I think they executed the music video.
Oh,
perfectly.
definitely.
The problem is that's not what I listened to Solence for, and this kind of disappointed me in what they could actually do better in. I understand it's better than what they put out last year, like 90% of it. But like, it's still not. I'm not a fan.
Yeah,
I will
in the same boat.
I will still totally agree that debut album is far better than this in almost every aspect. But this song, for what it's trying to be, is just it. For what it's trying to be, it's great, and I appreciate it for that.
Yeah, I will appreciate what it's trying to do, this is just not why I listen to this band, and I
Also-
honestly think it should have been under like a different project in this sort of sense, but then that's going a bit too far. So I'm just probably gonna say, if this is the style they want to go for, great. It's probably not what I'm gonna continue listening to them for.
Yeah, so you're
I
saying
think
that
it's
they've
just a
drifted a
one-off.
bit. They've
Oh, yeah,
drifted a bit
they just
from
drifted quite a
their
bit.
original sign. Yeah, I would have to agree. Real quick, I do like the idea that like the lead vocalist for Solence like dropped out in elementary school. And so like this, and this
Yo,
is the
also
song
he
he's
looks
so proud
like
of.
Rick Astley in the music.
I didn't see the music video, but now I'm intrigued.
You need to go watch the music video. It's hilarious.
I've watched it like
for
4 times.
audio listeners, they're and for Derek, I guess, since he hasn't seen
Mhm.
it, they're basically just running around the streets of the town that they live in, just like jamming the fuck out to this song, just like walking down the street.
I would say this song for me, like I thought that the electronics and instrumentals and like how bouncy it was fantastic, and like it did have that same sort of electronic solo that I really like in Empire of the Sun off that debut album. But to be blunt, I heard the first 10 seconds of vocal delivery and I was like, I can't. Like I cannot bring myself to listen to this song ever again. I will appreciate the instrumentals, but just the lyricism. If you're gonna have that like level of lyricism that we talked about, then the vocal delivery really has to work. And for me, it didn't. But
Even still, the instrumentals and just the lyrics in general, I feel like it's too repetitive to a point where it kind of gets annoying.
okay, I know a lot of people felt that way about God of Fire by Fit for a King.
Yeah.
But that instrumentation is something like it was like the same riff like 25, 30 times, but I really like that riff.
Also,
Yeah.
that song is literally made for live shows.
Right.
Right.
Well, I
That
think
was-
that's almost
that
what
was
this
its
is
purpose.
too. Because like I don't care that the instrumentation is really repetitive here because I enjoy it for what it is. It's the same sort of concept. It feels like on certain levels we're all like, well, I guess except for Jake and Jacob, who are just on that same wavelength about Solence here. That like for Justin and I, we've got the same gripes on different aspects of the music. But I'll have to say that I think that if Solence can put out a single that at least two of us enjoy, then that's a win for them, right? Like at this
I
point,
mean, I feel like I'm kind of the Solence apologist at this point.
that's
like-
true. That's your official title.
Like if we're being real, if we're talking about the best EPs of 2020, like Solence was in that conversation for me. I ain't gonna lie.
I like that concept of the official title. It's like like Justin Treasurer, Jacob Official Executive, Jake Solence Apologist. Like, it's on that lapel on your desk. Like you got the little stand. Oh shit.
I have that headcanon in my head now with a comic where it's just the guys in the newsroom, a guy with a smug look, head on his head, just says Solence and gets thrown out the window.
It is. I know exactly what picture you're talking about.
Okay,
I love
good.
it. I love it.
So,
I love it.
With all that being said, I think we should probably move on. But my one last statement is, if you need some good fucking music to headbang to, this song is some good fucking music to headbang to.
You
Sure.
and watch the video.
Yeah, that too.
True. I do have to do that.
Let's move on then. Northlane have put out a new song called Clockwork.
You mean the official theme song for Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Siege Oceanic Nationals Esports League 2021?
Which I think is
That's
pretty
what
cool.
Clockwork is short for. They couldn't fit all that onto the album, so they got fucking Clockwork. That was their first song choice.
Imagine if they put all that in parentheses in the song title.
I would love that.
Music to listen to. Music to listen to.
Yeah, exactly.
I think it's cool that this is like the official song for Rainbow Six because I have over 100 hours of Rainbow Six, even though I haven't touched the game in like 4 months at this point. I've kind of fallen out of love with it, but I have put a lot of time into that game, and to see a song like this like represent the esports scene for it, I think is pretty cool. And not to mention, it is also like I actually enjoy a Northlane song for the first time maybe ever, which is also partially due to the fact I have not listened to very much Northlane before, but I definitely enjoyed this song quite a bit. Surprisingly so. I did not have very many expectations going into it, but it's just
Favorite Northlane song.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of boring actually, but
Okay.
I can still appreciate it. But this is kind of a weak lead single in my opinion.
Okay, so I'm glad we're on the same wavelength here then, because I was thinking that you were going to be high on it, and I was going to be kind of alone and it's a little boring. This isn't necessarily the Northlane style I'm into. I'm into more of that, like, because to me, oh God, what is the name of that album? I'm losing
Node.
it. I think it's Node. Wait, yeah, where it's sort of like this modern metalcore mixed with 90s kind of industrial grunge. Which, like, I was never into the 90s industrial or grunge sounds, but Northlane manages to incorporate them into something modern and make it work on that album, which is what I like most about them. This is kind of missing that for me, and that's why I didn't like Alien as much, because that's a style of Northlane that I'm not quite as into. But I will say that out of all the songs that I wasn't necessarily as high on this month, this one is the one that I have the most faith in for me to like eventually, because of how catchy that synth, whatever it is in the background is. Like that, I can envision that clearly in my head, and I get it stuck in my head sometimes, and I want to go listen to the song. And when I listen to it, I'm like, I'm still not sold on it, but I have a feeling that one of these times it's gonna click for me. I don't know. I like Jacob said, I'm not entirely sold on it, but I'm hoping that maybe we get something a little bit that's more exciting out of the gate and doesn't need quite as much time to simmer from here on out. But I mean, if this gets Northlane some more exposure, then so be it. It's at like, I think 6 or 700,000
That could be why it's
already.
tame actually, because of the official theme song for.
Definitely.
Wait, am I? Hold on. I'm sorry. I was on their page, and there's an upcoming concert June 10th. Oh, it's okay. It's an Aussie festival. I just the top 3 bands were Green Day, Fall Out Boy, and Weezer, and I'm like, if Australia's getting a Green Day, Fall Out Boy, Weezer, Northlane tour, like I would want to go see that just to see how people reacted to Northlane. For like something like if I went for like Weezer and Fall Out Boy and Northlane opened, I'd be so confused. Like I'd be a good confused, but I would want to see the people's reactions.
Yeah.
Stacked ass. That's a stacked festival too. All the bands that are there. Australia. How dare you get your shit together?
I got a question for you guys. Did you notice anything similar between this music video and the next song's music video?
Yes, actually, a little bit.
I didn't watch the next song's music video, so I cannot give an opinion.
That being said, our next are we finished talking about this one? Anyways.
Yeah. You're good. You're good.
Holding Absence released their new single "In Circles."
So to finish off that music video comparison that Jacob started, both of these music videos are just the vocalists walking down a street, except for Northlane, Marcus was just walking in a straight line and the camera was right in front of him, just following him backwards. Whereas in Holding Absence, you get a spinny circle, because the song is called In Circles. And you also get like 7 different outfits.
I think this is my favorite single.
That's a bold take.
Really? Over Afterlife?
Yep.
Huh.
I'm agree to that.
Oh,
Okay. I can respect it.
Yeah, this is my second favorite, behind Afterlife.
Yeah, same.
Okay.
So we all agree
so
that
we're all
Beyond
on some
Belief.
level of agreement, yeah. Hivemind finally in effect.
Yeah.
28, 32 singles in, like.
Is it really
18
Hivemind if only
actually.
like half our brain cells work?
Exactly. I think it's a pretty good indication.
So, I think for this song, I am going to need to hear it in the context of the album to fully appreciate it.
Took the
And I
words
think
right out of my mouth.
That is all that I'm waiting for at this point, because this song has all of the signs to be amazing, but I think it's just missing the lead-in of some other song or the follow-up of some other song that will make it into something bigger than what it is by itself.
I think it's the closer. It's got big closer energy to me.
See
And
if
I
you
could
can
be
find that,
entirely wrong.
actually.
Actually, yeah, that's a good point. I'm sure the track listing's got to be leaked
Yeah.
by this point. I'll investigate.
Did you know the album has a Twitter account?
What?
Yep.
Interesting.
Why did they? Huh? How did they manage that? What does it do?
I just saw it on the vocalist page. I forget his name.
Lucas.
Like, is the album like tweeting in first person or something like that? Like,
No, there's no tweets, but there's just a Twitter account.
oh, interesting. Okay, so this is not the closer. I found the track list.
Oh, wait, there's one tweet actually.
I'm curious. Before I say anything, tell me what the tweet is. If this
I'm
album's
alive.
tweeting in first person,
It's
I
alive.
suddenly I hate holding absence. I don't know. I don't like the concept that an ID or that an album is sentient and like is tweeting. Like I feel like that's like the high concept sort of thing I'd expect from somebody like, I don't know, Starset, but not holding absence.
Okay, also the description of the Twitter account is, so it's titled "The Greatest Mistake of My Life," and then the description was saying goodbye to you.
I wonder if that's the
Gotta be a lyric.
Closing lyric, yeah. So
Anyway, the song.
Yes, the song is track 6 on the album in between two songs. It's bookended on the left by Drugs and Love and bookended on the right by No More Roses.
So that
closing
basically
track
means nothing
entitled.
to us as of now.
Yeah, we have no clue. Absolutely none.
But I think given the fact that Afterlife had a single edit and a regular, which presumably means that like it's going to flow into it. Like some song is going to flow into Afterlife.
Yeah.
I think In Circles is probably going to be a similar situation. I would have to assume where something is probably going to flow out of In Circles into what song comes after In Circles?
No More Roses.
I feel like No More Roses is probably going to like transition in like out of In Circles in some really nice way based on how this song ends. There's like a minute-long instrumental to just fade it out at the end, which has big, just strong album energy to me.
Yeah, it's shaping up to be a very cohesive album,
Definitely.
which I'm more than happy to have.
Yeah, I am cautiously optimistic about this album.
I agree. That's about where I'm at too. Afterlife is one of my favorite songs so far this year. The single before Afterlife, I can't remember what it's called for the life of me. Yes, I'm not super high on this one. This one, I'm, like you said, waiting for the context of the album. Cautiously optimistic is a good way to put it.
Mm-hmm.
I like that description.
I want to like all these singles more than I do. I want to like this band a lot, but other than like Birdcage and Gravity, I don't. I feel like it's so close with these. Some of these, like In Circles is the best one, I'd say, but I don't know.
I think this song was another one that kind of just fell through in the fact that 14 other songs released on this day.
True.
Where it's like, this song is great, but so much other amazing material also released on this day. So
have we've reached the part where it's just the March 19th recap from here on out, right?
We've been in the March 19th recap since. We've been in it for 8 songs now.
Yeah, March 19th was just so insane.
Yeah. Anyway, I think that's a good sign to move on.
Yeah.
Royals, a new band for this podcast, have released a new song called Worldwide Catastrophe.
Will we pay for our mistakes and wash away the pain?
And there's actually a bit of an interesting story with this one because they reached out to me on Instagram, the Hivemind Radio Instagram, summer of last year. They had a song called Fair Weather Friend, which was pretty new. And I don't get a lot of bands that reach out to me on Instagram, but like when they do, I check them out just because like why the hell not? Maybe they'll be good. And Royals was a pleasant surprise for me. Fair Weather Friend is a solid song, and they kind of went quiet for the rest of the year. They finally came out with new material in Worldwide Catastrophe, and it is pretty much just exactly kind of what I expected from them based off of Fair Weather Friend. It's just some fun pop punk kind of stuff. It's just a fun song about worldwide catastrophe.
I don't really have anything to say.
Justin, do you have anything to say? Or?
I didn't get a chance to listen to this.
Damn, that's a shame because this song's actually this is a sleeper good song of the month if you ask me. I don't feel like I have too much more to say about it other than like it was just a fun song all around. It has a nice vocal delivery to it. It's got solid instrumentals all throughout. Like, this band is definitely another hidden gem that deserves more recognition than what they're getting right now. But there isn't a lot that I can specifically say about the song. Like, there isn't any specific part about the song that stands out to me. It's just one cohesive package that is really fun and sounds really good together. So,
Real quick, Jake, I heard the song, and I agree with everything that you said. His delivery is like a dead ringer for one other vocalist, and I have tried so hard to figure out who it is. Did it remind you of anybody when you were listening to it?
The closest that I noted down was Point North. But even that, I don't know if that's a great comparison.
Hold on. No. God, who is it? Oh, it's going to kill me. If I think of it later, I'm just going to keep listening to the song while we talk about the rest of them until it hits me. And hopefully I'll, like, remember it. Because I listened to it, and I just kind of sat there and thought really hard for 3 minutes. And ended up having to go back and listen to the song again because I spent too much time during the first one trying to figure out who it reminded me of. Like, but anyway, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I don't have too much more to add. It's just a solid song that I definitely think should be on more people's radar, and that's why I wanted to throw it into this month's recap. I think I'm good to move on to one of Justin's babies, so to say.
Not quite my baby, but definitely one to definitely one who as of right now
it's still in the womb.
Well, they have an album coming out, so it's Never Tell with All I Need, the third single off this album. Yeah, third. And this is gonna be a really good album. I've already pre-ordered it.
Oh, okay.
I want to harken back to Holding Absence again, which might seem strange at first until I mention the fact that I think this song is going to excel in album context more so than as a single. Because the, like, 20 to 30 seconds of just straight rap at the end of the song almost feels out of place. But I think as soon as I hear it in the album, it is going to work amazingly, and I just have faith in that it will work in the full package. But
that
as a single, it's like I'm like, okay, like, I guess, but I think the album is really what's going to make this song shine.
That and the drop off toward the end of Back on Me are really the two reasons why I'm not, this may not be top 5 for me, but it's still going to be a really good album. Again, like you, I would definitely need context, but it's Jeremy who does the clean vocals. This is, by far probably his best vocal delivery.
Yeah, I was very sold on this song vocally until those last 30 seconds. And not that I don't like the rap aspect of this band, because I think it's part of what makes them unique. Definitely. But like Jake said, it felt so out of place, and I just kind of sat there like, okay, but why? Like if they'd incorporated it earlier on more, like, then yeah. But like, just put at the end there, I'm sitting there like, well, why did they choose to do this? The last 30 seconds, chop it off, and you got one of my favorite songs of the month, right?
Compare it to Everything in My Mind, where the rap was interwoven into the song, like, almost flawlessly.
Yeah.
And really fit really well. And this kind of the instrumental switch as well, which, kind of like Secrets from Slaves, kind of throws you off for quite a bit.
Yeah, maybe with some more time, or like you guys have said in the context of the album. Yeah.
But this could also lead into something, but I don't quite have the checklist on me at the ready. I'm sure they tweeted it out a while ago. Let me take a look at it real quick.
Regardless of all the criticisms that we've said, Never Tell are definitely on a bit of a hot streak.
Oh yeah, for sure. Easily. This and Back on Me are phenomenal.
Yeah. I'm upset that this is only a 9-track album.
That is a little upsetting.
I've got nothing else to say but good things about these guys.
Yeah, definitely.
Ben in general, very good. Album heavily anticipated amongst all of us. Outline and Color. Yeah, Outline and Color are back. another single again. These guys never sleep. Put
I feel
out.
like we talk about them as much as
Yeah,
Souls.
Yeah.
exactly,
Actually.
exactly. They got a new single out entitled "Why Should You Survive."
Am I strong enough? Can I fight till the end? So know you need me. You can write me off.
So, as far as I'm aware, they have Imposter Syndrome 2 coming out this month, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know what the hell the track listing is.
It's similar to the first one. I'll grab that while you guys are talking.
Because this is either like the third or fourth single they've dropped in the past couple months. So, like, I don't know what that EP is shaping up to be. But I definitely think the later singles post Imposter Syndrome 1, I have definitely been higher on than what I heard in that first Imposter Syndrome. And I'm still not 100% sold on them, but I'm definitely much higher on them than I was previously.
Oh,
And,
not to interrupt you. We've heard 4 of the 5 songs off the EP.
okay, so
already.
there's just one left. Okay.
Yeah, there's one more.
Got it.
Poison Prescribed as Medicine, Today's Western, Goodbye to My Friends, Why Should You Survive, and Don't Want to Try Anymore is the last one.
Got it. Okay.
And that's coming out whenever the EP is supposed to set to release.
So yeah, I think I've just generally, like, the more we've listened to Outline and Color, the more we've discussed them on this podcast, the more I've kind of grown to their sound. And this one, not my favorite, but definitely, like, it's not putting me off in the way that it used to with this band's sound.
In contrast, this is probably the least favorite off the EP I've listened to.
Really?
I like this song.
I
think
don't
it's good.
I don't like the uncleans in this. Then again, I listened to their self-titled and I really enjoyed that, but that was with their previous Unclean's vocalist.
I think this song probably has the best utilization of their Unqueen vocals in a while.
I would agree. Yeah, I like this more than Goodbye to My Friends and Today's Western. I think Poison
Definitely.
Prescribed as Medicine is still my favorite.
Yep. We're in the
whatever
exact
thing,
same boat.
I think Punishment and Poison Prescribed as Medicine are really the only ones
Okay,
that I really like.
Punishment's just in a separate tier.
Yeah, it's just
That
good.
song also just has
Fair.
that song also just has a Kaylee Wolf feature, so it's kind
Gotta
of
be
hard.
elite.
It's kind of hard to, like, compare that to anything else that doesn't have a Kaylee Wolf feature. In all honesty, but yeah, Outline and Color, like, I feel like I don't know if they've been leveling up because they've just been putting out material so constantly, but at least to me, I've definitely been growing to their sound, and I've enjoyed this song. Yeah, that's kind of all I have to say.
I know for sure. Definitely excited for this upcoming EP and also to anything else that they put out, really. I mean, even if I don't necessarily love what Outline and Color is doing on any given single, like, I still appreciate it. Like, I have yet to hear anything from them that I actively did not enjoy, or at least like, right? So
Yeah.
One Morning Left are back
Again.
with a new single
like-
entitled Ruthless Resistance.
I feel like this is the third time we've said those exact words about a band
Yeah.
this month.
Hear me out.
Okay.
This is an August Burns Red song with electronic elements, and I hate it.
Ooh. Okay. Yes, I also don't like it.
I think it's better than the previous two.
No.
It's better than Ruby Dragon. And I think it's, like, close to being better than whatever came out last month, which I can't even remember the name of at this point. But it's still missing the hook that Neon Highway had.
Yeah, Man, they really just gave themselves such a high bar and then never hit it again.
Yeah.
I don't think they've even come close. Again, it's like, I may have been too harsh on it in saying that I don't like it. I think it's just okay, but I feel like this and the other two, like, past singles, I've heard 80 million times from so many other bands. I want that uniqueness that Neon Highway had.
Yeah.
They're just not delivering it.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So in saying that, the album is coming out in May, so that means we probably only have to talk about them maybe one or two more times for a while.
I like how we went in, like, a 6-month span from being really high on Neon High
Yeah.
to being like, Yeah, we only have to talk about them for like a couple
throw
more
them in the
months.
Solens tier, maybe.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I do like
I
this better
would.
than anything Solens has done, but yeah, no, I want something creative and unique to separate them from other artists that are doing the same sort of thing, and they're not giving me that.
Yeah.
So maybe the album, it's almost the same sort of deal as Escape the Fate for me, where I'm hoping that we'll get something that was more unique like Neon Highway off the album, as opposed to the other 3 singles, but otherwise it's just gonna be left with an album that's okay, good, but nothing special, and that's never what you want to hear.
Yeah. On the contrary, Siamese are shaping up to be putting out quite the heater of a record. They have a new song out called Enough Ain't Enough, featuring Rory Rodriguez of Dayseeker.
We strive for better times to feel alive. Enough ain't enough for me.
Where the fuck did this come from?
Yeah, Siamese just decided to stay quiet until like they let release Radar just to let everyone know that this song was coming out. There was no marketing or teasing whatever for this song, and I don't know how I feel about the marketing of it, but this song's amazing.
Oh yeah,
and is shaping up to be by far my favorite record that Siamese has put out. In contrast to Superhuman, which I thought was just okay, and whatever album came out before that with Soul and Chemicals and whatever other songs were on that album.
I feel like if you take this Can't Force the Love and then literally just the chorus of Home, you have a really good album.
Home is growing on me. Like, I've gone back to it a couple times. The song is growing on me.
I joke, but it's it's good. It's probably going to be in the context of the album a good contrast. Whereas this is a very it's got that weird kind of like African, almost like I don't know how to describe it, but I don't want to try and recreate it, but you guys know what I'm talking about, where it's got that weird kind of inflection in the instrumentals. That was a throw off at first, but as I got more listened to it, it became a lot more catchy.
This song is just super catchy all around.
And then the breakdown, just what?
Yeah, it's like it's a fun breakdown. Like usually
super electronic breakdown.
Breakdowns are supposed to make you like kind of that filthy stank face, whereas this one's just kind of fun.
Kind of reminds me of the one they did for Deathbed on Superhuman.
I don't remember that song at all.
What? What?
I know. I honestly wasn't a huge fan of that. That other Siamese album.
Yeah,
I
only liked like maybe half of that album. Regardless, Siamese are doing much better stuff now, and I am all for it.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh yeah, no. I kind of hope the album is soon.
Yeah,
super
I'm
soon.
surprised that we're 3 singles in and don't have a release date yet.
Probably will with the next one.
Yeah,
we were like that with
Better. I'm sure we'll
No
get
one
more
knows.
information
Can
in the upcoming.
can we take a moment to appreciate this Rory Rodriguez feature actually, and just talk about it?
Can we take a moment to appreciate every Rory Rodriguez feature?
Yeah, true.
Rory's just a beautiful human.
Yeah, I do want to say though, in how good this feature is, I almost feel like there's wasted potential.
Yeah, I feel like Rory's a little bit underutilized in this.
Not just that, but I almost think a different vocal feature would have served this song better than Rory. Because Rory sounds oddly similar to their vocalist already.
Huh.
And
Yeah.
I don't feel like the contrast between them is big enough to make it like stand out as much as the feature in Home, for example. Not that like this feature by Rory is better than the one in Home, but the contrast, I think, like get a different I don't know, just get a different vocal feature, and I think this song could have had more potential into it.
Potentially. Also, while looking into more research on this, I forgot their original name was Siamese Fighting Fish, and that's just humorous to me.
I like
funny.
that.
Yeah.
I don't know who else you would get for a feature though.
Yeah, I mean, I guess nothing really comes to mind. I don't know.
Yeah.
Rory Rodriguez is one of those features. Feels like it's the same. It's like I was mentioning with Spencer Sharness earlier. He's got such a large vocal range that any feature that doesn't use his entire range feels underutilized.
Mm.
You know, Like, there's just so much he can do, and if you're not doing all of it, then like, what's the point?
I don't know. You could say that about Marcus Bridge in that 1,000 Below song.
That is true. That is true. But that Marcus Bridge feature slaps. That's the best 1,000 Below song, and it's not even close. In my opinion. I don't want to start any arguments. I know where that road leads.
Now that this has had time to sit, where does this sit on your guys' rankings? Can't Force the Love, Enough Ain't Enough, and Home?
On par with Can't Force the Love and above Home.
Yeah.
Second.
Can't Force the Love is the best.
Yeah.
I think Home is the best, and Can't Force the Love is my least favorite.
I'm surprised you think Home is the best with Drew
I
York.
hate Drew York. Let's put that out there. I think that Straight from the Path sucks ass.
True.
But I really
He's
like him in
absolutely
Home.
correct.
I
Straight
really
from the
like.
Path does suck ass. I've seen them live, and they suck ass live.
Oh, disgusting. Don't sound good live. Don't sound good in the studio. Fuck that band. But Drew York as a feature, banger. I love that song. I really do. I don't know. I don't know what for whatever reason it clicked with me, but I think
shocked.
it's really good. I am too. I think I may be more shocked than you, and I'm the one who likes it.
Like me with Born of Osiris.
Yeah, exactly.
Speaking of shocking releases that, really stood away from the crowd, Paul Bartolome with Kellen Quinn feature releasing Time Bomb.
I'm waiting for a moment, frozen in time, just so I can feel it, so I can feel it. It's like I'm waiting on a time bomb, ready to blow my world.
Get this man some more fucking attention, please.
Yup.
What the hell? This is like 75% better than the album he released, and it's so good.
This is so, like, how does he keep landing some of the best features in the game with such little recognition? I don't get it.
He's done it for a while, like on his
yeah, it's crazy.
his 2018 album. He and Philip on there, and Craig Mabbitt from Escape the Fate.
And last year we had Philip Stern again,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, we
And
had
then-
Philip, we had Johnny Craig.
Craig.
I'm expecting a Rory
Yeah,
feature.
Rory is like the only big name that he hasn't done yet. And
It
I wouldn't
has
be
to
surprised if that isn't coming in the next 6 months or whatever.
Imagine a Paul Bartolome Tillian feature.
Ooh, sheesh.
So basically, what we're all hinting at is that this song is great.
Yeah. I think what sold it on me was as Kellen Quinn's part into the breakdown.
Kellen Quinn went heavy.
He did go heavy.
I think to me, like, that's a good part of the song, but to me, the chorus is
is
just
also
so
really
good.
Mhm.
So good.
I think that this is an example of the fully utilized feature that we're talking about with Roy Rodriguez, right? Because you have all aspects of Kellen Quinn's like vocal delivery in
I
it.
mean, Downer and Corporate.
Oh, my bad. Yeah, sorry. This Downer Inc. feature slaps. No, I really like this song. Like you said, I think this is better than a majority of what was on that album last year, which was already a good album. So please check it out. It definitely deserves, like you said, more recognition than he has by far.
Absolutely. Let's shift gears a bit. We got Beartooth. They released 2 new songs, Devastation and The Past is Dead.
Man, I have not liked Beartooth.
Me too.
Full disclosure. I think Clever's the only good one off that album from last year. And everything else has kind of not sit as well with me. Beartooth put out 2 bangers. 2 bangers!
Yep.
And suddenly I'm a Beartooth.
One banger.
Oh,
2.
okay, well, hold on. No, because
One.
there's a correct answer to this question, Jacob. Which is the banger?
Devastation.
Yeah, I'm gonna fight you.
Yeah.
Bullshit.
I think that
Easily The Past is Dead.
I was gonna say, you know what? Caleb Shomo doing uncleans is my least favorite part of Beartooth. I love Caleb Shomo's cleans, and I think that they are very underutilized.
Yep.
And like
that is true.
Clever has no uncleans, and that is my favorite Beartooth song. The Past is Dead is largely lacking in Caleb Shomo and suddenly it's my second favorite Beartooth song. I think I've listened to this maybe 30, 40 times at this point.
yeah,
But
same.
that's that. I mean, I love it. The chorus is so catchy.
Yep.
Everything. And like it's an interesting little like breakdown-esque sort of thing that you
You
have.
know
but
what? You know what the
works
breakdown
really
is?
well.
It's like
What?
Animals Light Architects. It's like almost that
Yeah.
same breakdown, just lighter.
Yeah, sort of segmented.
Yeah.
I feel it. Yeah, and I guess in saying that I like The Past is Dead so much, not to discount Devastation because I don't like it as much, but I still think that it is a quintessential Beartooth song, but done better than every other quintessential Beartooth song
Yeah.
that was put out in the past ever.
Yeah, Devastation is just a classic Beartooth song, and I like, if y'all remember, when the Hivemind was kind of forming in late 2018, Disease was one of my top 5 albums of 2018 at that point, and Devastation would have fit perfectly on that record. And then The Past is Dead comes out and is a completely different sound and is probably like a top 3, top 2 Beartooth song ever.
Well, we can't go back. We don't know where to begin. All the light drains out. We can't try making.
For sure.
Like,
Yeah,
God
I love it.
damn, is it catchy and fun and memorable in every way.
So on that note, I'm curious, Jacob, why do you like Devastation more, and why isn't The Past is
Well-
Dead working for you?
I honestly, Beartooth is anyway. Like
That's definitely a fair assessment.
that's basically what it is. I think Devastation is just okay. I don't think it's amazing.
Okay, I see. Okay.
I just think Beartooth is
Fair enough.
That
Caleb,
seems
show
your
more on
general-
features though.
Oh, true. Caleb Show on features can't miss. It's like that one, the Used song that came out last year. I think it was called The Lottery, and it had a Caleb Shomo feature on it. And like Caleb Shomo uncleans as a short dose on a feature, phenomenal. Caleb Shomo uncleans for 3 minutes and 30 seconds with a very light opening intro and predictable breakdown for 12 songs on an album. Maybe not so much. Maybe not my vibe. But I think that these two are working really, really well.
This is also off of an upcoming album called Below, coming out in
Yes.
June.
Yes.
I am looking forward to that one, I must say.
I am excited for a Beartooth album, and I can't believe I'm saying that. But
Cautiously
here we
optimistic
are.
about a Beartooth album?
Yeah, exactly. Cautiously optimistic.
I'm just pure
Another
excited.
single.
What'd you say?
Yeah, what?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I need another single before I'm really
Got it.
sold on
Oh,
it.
before you're sold? Okay. I
I
see.
do not need another single. I just need them to stop me.
Hey, that's rude to the 50 listens that I've given The Past is Dead.
Yeah, exactly. How could you? My poor last Sun FM tracking. Oh, man.
Let's
We
get a
got
move on,
a-
I think.
I
Yeah.
was going to say, we got a new single from a podcast darling. A Hivemind Radio special over here. Marwood's Fall are back with a new single entitled Waves.
I don't think there's a lot to be said about this song, but I did want to mention that we have talked about them in the past. They released a song at some point last year called Before I'm Gone, which had very strong Breaking Benjamin elements and influence. And this song, I think, distances themselves from that influence a little bit, but it still sounds kind of generic in a way. But by no means is it bad. And I also wanted to mention that the music video for this song has a very different cinematic opening than the Spotify version. So that leads me to believe that whenever the EP drops, that there's going to be some sort of an interlude / opening track that I think will make this song better than it currently is.
So to answer your question, Waves extended version is currently available on Spotify.
On YouTube.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but I'm saying like Waves and Waves Extended Edition are two separate like tracks on
Yeah.
Spotify. So
Well,
I
no,
think they
the
have that.
The extended version isn't
Oh.
on Spotify, as far as
Yeah,
I'm
it is.
aware. Is it?
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now.
Where the fuck?
On their page, actually, funnily enough. Released
When
4 days ago.
Oh, that'll explain it. It released 4 days ago. Got it.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah,
I didn't catch that then. I didn't catch the extended version.
How unbelievable. How
The other
could
thing
you?
I noted down, this is a little bit off topic, but McKenna have been going through some issues. And McKenna are definitely kind of a podcast darling at this point,
Right.
I would say. I was looking at their bio on Spotify. The producer for McKenna has done work with this band.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
So
I would have.
think
I
that's an
would have never
interesting
made that
connection.
association.
Yeah, I wouldn't have either, but I think if anything, that's an indicator that this band has potential.
Yeah, for sure.
So
No, I agree. This is generic, but it's not in a bad way.
Mhm.
I think that if what they're looking for is to reach that audience who's into that same sort of hard rock, Breaking Benjamin vibe, they're gonna do it incredibly successfully.
Octane
'Cause, like,
core.
Yeah, exactly. No, we talk, a lot of the smaller bands we find, we feel like we talk about that they have potential. I do think that this band, with some time exposure, does have the potential to take off, just on the grounds that they're doing that quote unquote generic sound really, really.
Yep.
I was just trying to find if there was more release information for more stuff, and I checked their Twitter, and it said their one single they released in 2018 is available now. So in case you guys didn't know, that's available. That is
Yeah, exactly. 3
Yeah,
3 years late, guys.
I'm pretty sure that they probably
They
don't
use
even use Twitter.
more.
Like,
yeah.
yeah. I think we're good to move on then.
Yeah, for sure.
Fight the Fade are back again with a new song called Old Wounds.
I don't know who you are. You're not the same man you were before.
They had just released the Cut and Run for the Radium album, and this came out of fucking nowhere.
Yeah.
And it's Fight the Fade doing what they do best, and
Yep.
it's really good.
Yeah, this is. I feel like it's a lot less reliant on the electronic element compared to Cut and Run, and
Mhm.
it is still just as good without it. Like, they're still just as good without the electronic elements as they are with them, and I think that's not entirely the easiest thing to pull off. Especially because I feel like their sound is very reliant on that electronic element in a lot of their material.
Well, that's what I was about to get into. Like, I wasn't too big of a fan of their 2020 album, In Love and Hope and Peace. I know you were.
Yeah.
But this, this has got me kind of back on track with them. And they've gotten quite a bit into that more heavier sound.
Yeah, this is definitely a heavier sound for them. Absolutely.
They're back on my radar.
Derek, Jacob, you guys got any thoughts on this one?
I did not get
No.
a chance to listen to this.
Got it.
We've okay. Look, in my defense,
Yeah.
there was a lot that came
Yeah.
out this month,
I know.
Yep.
and
Yep.
there were a lot of albums that we'll get into that I really, really enjoyed.
Yep.
And there was just like so much. Like, there's a lot of the upcoming singles that I haven't heard, and it's just, dude, it's volume alone.
Yeah.
Like, I want to give a lot of the music that released this month, particularly singles, more time than I did or I could, just because of how much came out. You know?
I'm in the exact same boat. There's so many
There's one
songs
I
that did not get enough time that they should have.
There's one I really hope you got to.
I didn't.
Not
There's-
you.
I
Justin,
I think I know
got
what
to
is.
it, and it.
All right,
I'm
so
I'm
We'll
happy
get to
for
it. We'll
you.
get to it.
We'll get to
yeah,
it. We'll get to
we'll
it.
get
Get
there.
to it.
Before we get there, though, All Time Low have a new song out called Once in a Lifetime.
There's no turning back. We already made this bet. I can't even sleep in it. Once in a lifetime, never the right time to get.
Now, did we all get to this one?
Yeah.
Yes.
I did, yes.
All right, good, because this song goes hard.
Disagree.
Song's great.
I think it's just okay. I think it's just
I'm
okay.
upset
I thought it
because
was okay.
if you're asking me, this is a top 3. This would be a top 3 song on Wake Up Sunshine.
Okay. No, but I
No.
appreciate the thought.
No.
It would be top 3 behind Monsters and Clumsy.
Huh. Well, I'm glad that you appreciate Clumsy and Monsters.
I'm just getting the fucking boot today.
It's like such a
Yeah,
backhanded.
yeah, Jake, that breakdown in The Blade? No, not the
No,
best breakdown
no,
of
no.
the year.
No, you're like
I-
0 for
I-
2 on opinions
Please
tonight.
stop.
I'm like 0 for 7 at this point. in all honesty. Man.
No, this is it's all time low. I mean, it's a good song. It's just not great, and I expect a song that's released. At least I don't think it's that great, and I would expect a song released as a standalone to have a bit more impact on me.
Oh, this isn't attached to an album?
No,
Okay,
no,
good.
they're what it is they're just writing music because they can. They don't know what they're going to release it as. They may just release it single by single. It could go on an EP. There were talks of, they said maybe Wake Up Sunshine Deluxe. Who knows? It's just basically release music, figure it out later sort of mindset is where they're at right now. So again, like this would have fit on Wake Up Sunshine. I think it would have been a mid-tier song on Wake Up Sunshine. It's all right, but I'm not super in love with it the same way that I was a lot of the other material on Wake Up Sunshine.
For me,
But-
like the chorus of this song kind of stole the show. It's
Okay,
a super
yeah.
catchy chorus. Once in a lifetime, never the right time. It's just super fun. And then also, before the final chorus, you get that synth that transitions into the final chorus and the faster drum beat. And that's really when the song elevated to the next level for me. It took the standard chorus and it added onto it to finish off the song. And
Right.
that's like, if we're talking about a band that isn't all time low, they probably would have just done that same chorus a third time around, but they spiced it up, and that like makes it so much more replayable for me. I look forward to that like 2-second synth bit every single time I listen to it. I swear to God.
Yeah. I mean, I even in kind of sort of dogging on this single, I like it more than like 95% of their material before Wake Up Sunshine. So it's like I do think that they found a good, not almost formula, I guess, that works for them. Like whatever team that they've got going now, the sort of vibe that they're going with for these new singles and like the new songs, I'm really enjoying. I guess for me, like Wake Up Sunshine was my number 6 album of last year, and so I'm expecting it to live up to those standards, and I don't think it.
I think all that's said has been said at this point. So, Justin, it's
Take it
your time.
away.
Yeah, so Galleons, I alluded to this earlier. They have a new track, Let's Pretend, with Garrett Rapp of The Color Morale. This is off their self-titled album coming out in May, on May 17th, I believe.
Something like that.
Yeah. I just want to mention the fact that us here at the Hivemind, I know specifically you, Justin and Derek, you guys have been fans of Galleons for a while now.
Yes.
And we have missed out on the previous 2 singles that came before this for whatever reason.
Did we really not talk about them?
We missed out on
I'm
them.
upset because Better the Devil You Know was really good, and Hate the Player Not the Game was a good lead-in to what they're showing off now. And this song in particular is probably one of my favorites they've released in a while.
Yep. Okay, so Justin and I are on the exact same wavelength then. I have the exact same feelings about the previous singles and then on this as well. I think this is the strongest of the 3. Just getting Garrett Rapp back alone is worth mention. Right?
Yeah.
Like I miss the Color Morale, man.
When I saw that, I was like, wait, what? They're still doing stuff? And
Yeah, exactly. I will say, like in Galleons, though, that seeing the growth that this project has had has been fantastic. Like going from under 1,000 monthly listeners from when Justin and I first found them to 52,000 now and being added. I think Let's Pretend got added. I think he said 7 or 8, like of the Spotify playlist. Like the main ones that the people who work at Spotify for this sort of thing put on.
Mhm.
And it reflects. They're at 46,000 already. Within the past, I guess, week exactly. So, no, very very impressive, very exciting.
they're also on the same record label as Landless. They're on Famed Records. And
Wait,
this...
isn't that the same record label that McKenna is on?
Famine? I believe so, yeah.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
But this song in particular has got just the perfect blend of what Galleons is. Tom Bynes, just phenomenal cleans, mixed in with I think Igor is the uncleans vocalist, and then Garrett just blends in so well. They talked about the album a little bit during a Q&A, and the album is very much going to be kind of just different than what they put out. It's going to be similar to like Dream Machines, where this actually has a theme, which like the Mirror Mirror on the Wall, it's going to be referencing fairy tales. The album art for the actual album is based on Three Little Pigs.
Okay.
With like the wolf burning down
yeah.
the house. So this is going to be kind of more of a more somber album, and I'm very much excited for it.
Yeah, and we mentioned earlier, like talking about novelists and everything. Tobias also features on one of the tracks on this album, so that's definitely something to look forward to. Galleon's doing great here at the top of their game, just putting out the best material I feel like they ever have, and very excited for this album. Another one of those that's like got potential for top 10, definitely.
What a very weird like trio of features to get that you wouldn't think of. Garrett Rapp, Phil Byer, and Tobias from Novelists.
Who knows? But you know what? It's worked twice, and I think honestly we're probably going to go 3 for 3.
Yeah,
We take those.
Yeah.
The City Is Ours are back with a new single called Violent.
They also recently signed to A Rising Empire, and I wanted to bring that up because A Rising Empire picked up a gem here.
Mm-hmm.
This band is... This might sound weird, but this band is almost what I wish Our Hollow, Our Home sounded like.
Okay.
It's like... Because the Queen vocals of this band remind me a lot of Our Hollow, Our Home. They aren't exactly the same, but there is a bit of a similarity.
Yeah,
and then I just prefer the unclean vocals of this band, which there's actually a new unclean vocalist as of this song. They got a new unclean vocalist. Their old one from their debut album in 2019 left. And this new guy slots in perfectly. This is one of my favorite The City Is Ours songs, and it just goes hard. Instrumentally almost reminds me of Wage War, the way
I was gonna say this song reminds me of Fury.
Yeah,
it opens with violent. It's like it says violent.
Yeah.
Fury opens with Fury.
Yeah, this song is great. I have been like cautiously optimistic on how much I enjoy The City Is Ours in the past. Where their debut album was kind of 50-50 for me. The good songs were really good, and then the stuff kind of was and even going back into some of their earlier EPs was kind of the same story. I'm hoping with this new vocalist that they kind of go on a hot streak, and this is certainly a good start for that hot streak, if you're asking me.
Yeah, for sure.
I am a big fan of this song, and hopefully they keep it up.
Yeah, definitely better than anything off that 2019 album, I feel like. Which was like good, but didn't really stick with me as much as I feel like this will. Paloma are back.
Yep.
Thank God.
Thank God.
With another single entitled 2 a.m. Love Again.
Hush now, you got me feeling again. You got me feeling again.
Can this band do any wrong?
Nope.
No.
This might be my second favorite song after Novelists.
Oh, good.
Ooh,
I love
good.
to hear that one. I love to hear that.
So we're all high on it then. I'm
Yeah,
very glad
Yes,
to hear
this
that.
is incredible. I
so
heard it for the
good.
first time literally yesterday. I heard it the first time yesterday.
Paloma has
It's
some
so
of the
good.
most fun guitar work just in like the softer side of post-hardcore that I have ever heard. The way that they're able to like just implement little like breadcrumbs of the guitars in the verses is just so pleasing to my ears. Not
Yeah,
to
the guitar
mention Ray's vocals as well are top notch as they have always been since the Light Up the Sky days.
You just cannot do any wrong with
Yeah.
this band at all. I think the one thing that I'm kind of a little bit upset about is that they didn't keep the skull, like the skeleton motif that they did in the last 3 singles.
Mm.
That's fine. This song more than makes up for it. And just how fucking catchy it is and repeatable.
The biggest problem is that it takes them 9 months to release a new song.
Yeah.
Like,
Kind of like sounds like Veil of Maya.
I needed more Paloma in my life. Like, with every single, I'm coming closer and closer to reckoning with the fact is that, like, is Paloma just one of my top 10 favorite bands for a band with only 4 songs out? Like, the fact that I'm even considering that is crazy.
See, another issue is that they have, like, Ray's released a lot of demos for Paloma songs. Jake, there's one that I send you like a long time ago where it's just Ray listening to speakers and it's just like this super fucking heavy like instrumental track, you know, not like super heavy post-hardcore. And like I need that yesterday. Yesteryear and just man, I just really hope there's an album or some sort of
the moment this band drops an album top 5, lock it in.
I need something directly in my bloodstream because this band can do no wrong.
Yeah. I want to spend more time on this song and this band for how good they are, but we're on a bit of a time crunch, fellas.
Yeah,
so
we are.
I think we've sung this song's praises in as brief of a time period as we can. So let's move on to Tillian with his new song, Is Anarchy a Good Hobby? ?
Or did it suck the soul from your body? Is anarchy a good hobby? Control, when did you lose control?
Is it?
I don't know, is it?
I don't know. The question remains unanswered.
Yeah.
This song is interesting.
It is.
It's
very
a different vibe than literally anything he's ever. You wouldn't think it. Listen to the first minute, and then you get into the kind of middle bit, and it's more low key, in your face, like directly in your ears, like almost bass laced ASMR. I guess in a way is kind of a way to put it. It took me a while to get into it. It was anytime any song I listen to, I'm like, I can't tell if I love it or hate it. After a bunch of listens, I call it the Flexin' conundrum. Because Flexin' by Issues, I've listened to however many times, and I still don't know if I like it. But I will say this did finally click with me, and once it did, I haven't been able to put it down. I really, really like this vibe that it's going for.
I like this better than the last single. I don't even remember what that was called.
Anthem.
Yeah, I like this better than Anthem, but I still think Dose is better.
So it's interesting that you mentioned. I think Dose is my least favorite. I think this is my second, and Anthem is my first. This all 3 singles are more of like a Tides of Man esque vibe, which was the band he was in before Dance Gavin Dance. I don't want to go on too much of a tangent, but just interestingly enough, he also tried out, I believe, to be the vocalist for Chiodos and Emarosa before landing with Dance Gavin Dance. So there's your Tillian lore for the day. But the Tides of Man days are more influenced by a lot of like traditional 2010s post-hardcore. And it's been said that this is more like that sort of vibe. Which checks out, I guess, with a lot of the way that this feels as opposed to 2015's Future Friends, I believe. And then, 2018, last year, 3 years ago, shit. 2018's The Skeptic, and I'm here for it. Post-hardcore Tillian's my favorite Tillian. I'm very excited for this upcoming album, Factory Reset.
Agree.
This came with an album announcement.
Yeah, in saying that, whatever you said about Tillian just then, I am blanking. This is my least favorite of the 3 singles, but I think it will be better in album context. I'm bringing that thing up again.
There's a lot of singles like that this month.
Yeah. I think this song is definitely going to be one that thrives in the context of the album, where it creates the atmosphere that the album needs.
Yeah,
whereas as a single, it doesn't do much. But surrounded by other material, this will it'll be the bottle cap on the album.
Yeah.
That's kind of all I have to say.
Yeah, for sure.
So let's get moving on. We are almost done with these goddamn singles.
So much material this
Yeah,
month.
it's crazy. Any Given Sin have a new song called The Way I Say Goodbye.
I won't go alone. I'm telling you, maybe I'm weak, maybe I'm wrong.
This is another one of those Octane core bands, I guess you could say, that got very popular through landing some airplay on Octane with, I forget, it was either Dynamite or Another Life, one of those two. Another Life being by far my favorite song from this band. And this, I think, is a decent step following that. It's not amazing. It's not bad. It's just solid. And that's kind of all I have to say about it. Their vocals are as good as ever.
I kind of felt it was a little bit forgettable. Feel like something I've already heard before.
Yeah.
By no
think
means
that's
is it
fair.
bad.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I couldn't find any reason to listen to it again.
I think he has a really unique vocal delivery that I appreciated. As I said, I think it's done better in Another Life, which is my favorite song from them. But I think this song is solid, yeah. Jacob, you have anything to say? Or no?
No, I didn't get to this one.
Wake Up Hate with I think it's Red Devil Project.
Red Devil Reject.
Red Devil Reject. Putting out a new song, Pitchfork Party.
If you're going on the with something I wanted.
This is unfortunately the only song that I did not get to. in
That's
this
fine.
playlist.
So this almost gives me like an Ice Nine Kills vibe.
Yeah, they've been doing that for quite a bit. Wake Up Hate, especially like Toxic and Symptoms, where it's got that very much kind of Ice Nine Kills vibe, a little bit lighter because it's not too heavy.
Yeah.
I've been enjoying this band since The Panic, and just in general, I've been really enjoying a lot of these singles. I think they have an album coming out soon. I can't remember. I'll have to double check and take a look at the Patreon Discord I'm in. But all four of these singles, Feel Free to Miss Me. We've only talked about one of them, Pitchfork Party, which we're talking about now. All of these are just really good. Pitchfork Party in general, I think, is probably the best explanation of a Wake Up Hate song, where you've got that atmospheric kind of haunty vibe,
Mhm.
with a little bit of like the punky cleans, and then the more darker, harsher vocals. Probably not my favorite from this current release window. In
Yeah,
terms of what they've put out.
I think the lyrics are a little cringy. If that's
Lyrics are definitely not the greatest. That's the one gripe I have with all these singles. Is just the lyrics I haven't been super sold on.
I mean, with the name like Wake Up Hate.
You say that, but like the Cure and The Panic, which are two songs I can have a reference back to, and also just their debut EP Deep Sleep back in 2019. Like, there are still some good songs where they can definitely do the lyrics really well. It's just, for whatever reason, they've got a specific vibe they're going with these next couple of songs, and it kind of doesn't sit too well, but instrumentally it sounds good. Like, I don't have any problems with how it sounds. I wouldn't say excited. I'm open to see how the album is. That's really about it. I don't think it's going to sit super high on anything I've got for the end of the year.
This is definitely peaked.
That's good.
Yeah.
We can move on then. Any other thoughts?
Derek, any thoughts on Wake Up Hate?
I didn't get to. Oh, on Wake Up Hate in general, I think they're all right. I think your point about the lyrics is spot on. I'm not
Right.
super high on it, but I mean, like, I didn't get a chance to listen to this, so I want to. I want to, because there was a couple posts came up on my Twitter feed just out of nowhere that like people I followed liked about saying that it was good. So I wanted to get around to it, but again, it succumbed to that same sort of thing as a lot of the other music where I just didn't get a chance to listen to it.
It's succumbed to
quite
the depth
understandable.
of music that released.
Yeah, exactly.
Let me know what you think. And
Will do.
speaking of kind of underwhelming song releases, Designer Disguise finally releasing their EP No One's Alright, the only single or new song off of it, Good People.
I'm a little upset that you teased into this song with it being a little underwhelming. I'm a little upset about that one. Because I think this song's real good.
It's good, but compared to Out of My Face,
Well, yeah, I mean, compared to Out of My Face, this song's not nearly as good. But
that's kind of why I said it's underwhelming, because, you know, with Out of My Face, I felt like you know, that's where they absolutely peaked, and this is a little bit of a downgrade compared to that.
I think it would be hard to stay as consistently good as Out of My Face was.
Yeah,
like my expectations for Designer Disguise are around that level of what No One's Alright sounds like, and what some of their EP from last year sounds like. Out of My Face, I almost am treating as an outlier for how good it is. So like I'm not expecting them to hit that standard every time. But this song, like, this song is leveling up my opinion on Designer Disguise. Like, their EP last year was solid. Not super memorable, but No One's Alright, Good People, Out of My Face, like, all three of these songs are really good. Out of My Face being the standout for sure, but Good People is a really fun song. It has some great lyricism to it. The rap verses in this song, especially like halfway through the song before one of the choruses, is great. And then you also get a pretty fun breakdown that I don't know how to describe it, but it's like a bouncy breakdown that doesn't have a lot of instrumentals in it, but I don't know. My opinion on Designer Disguise is only going up at this point.
Yeah, I mean, they haven't fallen off for me at all. Mm-hmm. I was just, you know, I feel like they peaked with Out of My Face.
Yeah.
And I kind of want to see if they learn from that and kind of after this EP, you know, do more with that. That's what I'm really excited about, because if they can blend that with stuff they've done with like No One's Alright, I think they've got a masterpiece in the works.
Yeah. I can definitely agree with parts of that for sure. Derek, I assume you probably didn't get to this one either then?
Yup.
Alrighty then. So
respectable.
We have finally made it to our final single of the month then.
Literally released on the last day of the month too. Yep. Citizen Soldier, back at it again. We can't go a month without talking about Solence or Citizen Soldier.
Or Outline in Color.
Or that one as well. Stronger Than My Storm, their second track off their 2-part 24-track album. I think huh?
That's a lot of songs.
Yeah. We're gonna be talking them for the next 4 years. This is, I think, the song that made the decision on how the album was structured. Mainly because a semicolon saved my life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not sold on this. I think it's good, and it's definitely going to reach and appeal to a large audience. I could tell you exactly what that audience is going to be, and it's not me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm kind of getting to that point too.
I don't know.
Just realized they have 300,000 monthly listeners. I'm like,
I mean, yeah, they're doing well. It's my thing with this and songs in general that are overtly this about like overcoming adversity and like personal struggle. I identify a lot more with songs that are more subtle about it because they make you think and subsequently reflect.
Mhm.
This feels less like a song about overcoming adversity and more like an anthem about it, which I feel like are two very distinct ways of going about it. And like, I don't know. I don't mind it, but it feels very in your face with what it's trying to convey, and that's not my style of how I would like these sorts of songs to be conveyed. But like, again, it's something that a lot of people can relate to, and I feel like the way it's been presented here are definitely gonna help them succeed. It's going to be a decently big song, I would reckon. But I'm just not feeling it. I'm not feeling it.
You pretty much did everything I thought about the song. I do want to say though that if you're not still sick of Citizen Soldier, definitely go to their 2017 EP Caroline, because that is easily like some of their best work they've done. And I wouldn't say I'm disappointed that I haven't really felt that way in any of these recent songs, except in Sacred and a couple others from Down the Rabbit Hole. But this didn't really, tip the scales for me.
Yeah. For me, we're like what was that? Down the Rabbit Hole was 12 tracks.
Yeah,
12 tracks. So at this point, we're 14 tracks deep into the recent material, and everything's been good, but I'm yet to be sold on anything, and I'm starting to get to that point where I'm not
Fatigue.
really keen on holding on to hope that something really good is going to come along that I identify with and click with. Like if they're not 0-14 in terms of they've made 14 bad songs, but they've made 14 songs that I like, but I'm not super into, and at this point I'm just like, like, do I want to keep holding on to that hope?
It's kind of like Escape the Fate.
Yeah, exactly. I think this is better than Escape the Fate.
Oh, definitely.
Having said that, but it's the same sort of vibe, yeah.
I said this with Howley, I'm Not Dead, but this is a good song that would have fit on Down the Rabbit Hole. I know. I'm afraid I'm going to be saying that 24 more times.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's all I got, though.
So
You're welcome.
we finally have made it through the month of singles.
That was 2.5 hours.
Yeah, once I add in all the music, yeah. All right, well, let's stop dilly-dallying at this point. We need to get into the 6 albums that released this month that we're going to be talking about.
No, I'm
Starting
gonna be real.
with-
I'm gonna be real. I didn't have time to listen to any of these except the first one. And
I'm sorry.
It's unfortunate. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a shame. So, with that being said, let's get started with A Day to Remember's new album, You're Welcome. So, given the albums that we have to follow this, I kind of want to keep this one brief with y'all.
Fine by me.
Yep.
All right, here we go. Bloodsucker is nice. Permanent was surprisingly heavy. Last Chance to Dance, Bad Friend, was also surprisingly heavy. And everything else in between was just kind of there and, like, is sometimes okay on an individual level, but not worth revisiting. And, like, it's just not very cohesive. And that's... There you go. You have your album.
Yeah.
I'm still wondering why we let Jake roll with the generic assumptions of the songs, but that's not wrong for this one. Like,
Yeah.
I was not super impressed by any of this.
No.
Not even like, well, I'm talking singles like Mind Reader and Resentment.
Mind Reader and Resentment are still great.
Yep.
Yeah.
I love Mind Reader. Resentment's kind of fallen off with me. I mean, it's good. I don't know. Like you said, this album's all over the. This is like the problem that In Heart's Wake album had, but like worse.
Yeah.
Like the songs, just a lot of them have like no redeeming qualities. Like I can't remember half the shit I heard on this album, and I've heard it twice.
Yeah.
Like I remember the breakdown from Last Chance to Dance. I will say, I really like "Fuck You Money." I for whatever reason,
I really like Looks Like Hell. I don't know why.
Looks Like Hell was alright.
I feel
That's like one of the songs I remember thinking was just like, alright. I never added to the playlist, but it was one of those where it's like, okay, I'm gonna revisit it after I'm done with my first listen, because that was like, okay enough to maybe put in my playlist.
Here's the problem. Most of the songs on here are just okay.
Yeah.
We had, I guess they had, however long to make this album. They delayed it. It comes back, and it's still this mediocre. What's
You know
the
what?
point?
This actually, you know what this reminds me of?
What?
That Asking Alexandria album from last
Yep.
year.
Yep. Although I like the Asking Alexandria album better than I did that.
I would agree with both points.
Degenerates is literally the violence.
Well, no. I disagree
Yes.
with that. No, because the violence didn't sound like anything else on that Asking album. Degenerates
True.
sounds like 8 other tracks on the album. And I think Degenerates is the worst song on here. I really, really hate that song.
So,
I'm not gonna lie.
I don't know
I
if it's the worst, but I
hate
hate
it.
it.
I don't think I could mention a worse one because I don't remember what 5 of these sound like.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I think that tells you really all you need to know about this album. There's a Token Heavy song, and then a bunch of other ones that are just kind of there.
Yeah.
I watched a video where they tried to explain some of and that was the second listen I gave it, is after I watched the band members talk about their process, because I'm like, well, maybe that would help, change my perspective on this album. No, and a lot of them seemed very dispassionate about it as well, which makes me wonder. Jeremy McKinnon, the lead singer, claimed that they'd written a lot of these songs before signing to Fueled by Ramen, but I'm wondering if Fueled by Ramen kind of killed the vibe. If they had to write these to fit a certain thing, I don't know. Either way, this album's just okay. It's got a couple standouts. I don't really think it's worth listening to. Really, if you haven't heard it, I don't really see any point in
just
going through and listening to
Listen
it.
to Resentment and
Listen, yeah,
Resentment
the
and
singles,
Mind Reader.
the singles.
No, not even all the singles.
No, actually, yeah, fuck that, because then you'd have to listen to Brick Wall, and that song is ass. Yeah,
I will still stand by Bloodsucker being a nice song.
it's not bad. There's a couple on here that are passable,
Yeah.
but just overall,
I do want to make one last point about Fueled by Ramen, because that's the same label that Grandson is on, and Death of an Optimist is just in every way a far better album. So if Fueled by Ramen really did take a lot of the creative control out of A Day to Remember for this album, and Grandson was still able to get away with Death of an Optimist, I don't know what's going on.
Then that's on A Day to Remember at this point. I think there's a lot of shit that's on A Day to Remember at this point.
Yeah.
And this album provides no redemption.
So
It's ultimately what it comes down to.
let's move on from that then, because we have better pastures to be talking about.
Exactly.
Derek, you want to take the wheel?
With pleasure. Chase Atlantic are back with their newest album titled Beauty and Death.
I've been waiting enough, so I'm saying, if you get a minute, call me back. I'm so lonely, and you're the only one that knows me.
Chase Atlantic does not miss. I would argue that Chase Atlantic has never missed. Ever. Not once. In their however long their career has been, I don't think that they've missed. I think that there is zero opportunity for them to miss. What's really interesting to me, and I think that this album is the culmination of every Chase Atlantic sound, is that Chase Atlantic sounds like you've got the emo rap influences, very obviously. There's a lot of pop in there. They have an EP that just sounds like the 1975, which was completely out of left field for me, and I really liked it. It's from 2015 or 2016, I think.
I gotta show it to my brother.
Yeah, Chase Atlantic sounds like a bunch of different bands, but they've got such a unique tone to them and the way that their music is presented that you could play me any given Chase song. And even if I wasn't a Chase Atlantic fan, if you gave me an idea of what Chase and then played me a random Chase Atlantic song, I could tell you, oh, that's Chase Atlantic. And I think that for the first time, they've taken the culmination of those sounds and put them all together on one album that feels almost not necessarily a magnum opus, but almost like a mission statement. This is what we want to sound like, and here's how we're going to execute it masterfully. I don't know. I really, 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 really this was until the other albums we're going to talk about this month came out. This was my go-to album for that 2-week period where I just listened to it over and over and over again. there's something here. I don't want to say like for everybody because like there's no like breakdowns or anything. Well, actually, I take that back because there is kind of like a heavier part at the end of the opener, Paranoid.
And
But
out the roof too, kinda.
Yeah, ish. Out the
Ish.
Roof is hype as fuck, by the way. Love that song. Just in general, I feel like really there's so many different facets to this band that come through in this album to create one cohesive package that state this is a Chase Atlantic album and you're gonna love it. Like I don't know. I even something like Please Zanny, like my least favorite Chase songs are the one where it's very overtly just talking about drugs and because like that is a very common motif in almost every Chase Atlantic song. And Please Zanny is let me actually pull up the lyrics here because I haven't listened to it enough to remember, but I remember it being, well, please, Zanny, I'm so anxious that I need Zannies. Yeah. The anxiety is tearing me apart. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Please, Zanny.
Sounds like a lorazepam.
Yeah, exactly. And like, even that, I like that sort of thing I'm not super high on, but the delivery of it is enough for me to at least like continue to listen to it. You know, like I feel like even when they do wrong, Chase Atlantic. I actually definitely cut out. I just watched my green thing in Discord. Yeah, my bad. But I was gonna say that like when Chase Atlantic does something that I feel or that I don't like as much, I still feel like they can do no wrong because they do the wrong in such a way that makes it right. If that makes sense. I don't know.
The Solent song.
No.
Jake can agree with me on that.
Yeah,
Jake,
yeah. I'm
not the person to ask for that agreement there. But yeah, no, I guess all that to say that I really did enjoy this album. It's a very easy listen, very vibey, very relaxed. Even though there are songs like "Please Stand By" and "Out the Roof" that are a little more hype beast sort of thing, you know. But oh god, I really do. I love this band so much. I guess it shows, right?
Yeah.
Like how much I talk about it, but
Yeah.
you know, I'm curious as to what you guys thought about this.
Justin, I know you didn't get to this. Jacob, did you get to this one or?
So I listened to this once when it came out, and I thought it was just okay. Like
Okay.
I think I need more time with it.
Yeah, that's fine. No, and that's honestly how I felt about the band in general the first time I heard them. The first I heard was their 2019 album, which I believe is called Phases. And I listened to it the first time, and I didn't save anything. And it took me about 4 or 5 listens to that album to like them because I felt like I wanted to. Like there was enough there that I wanted to like it, but I wasn't sold. And eventually, like it clicked, and I haven't looked back since then. I would definitely go back and listen to it. Because I feel like there is a lot here to love, even if like even the singles, right? Like it took me till Slide came out for me to go back and like Out the Roof and oh god, what was the other single before that? I'm blanking. Molly. They didn't click with me at all, and I listened to both of them like 10 times. And then like I waited a month, Slide came out, I went back and listened to it. It's like, oh, I love these songs now. Like, sure, why not? May as well. And now there's some of my favorites off the album. But yeah, I think it's definitely something that benefits from re-listens, regardless of
I'd
whether.
probably due for another listen to this album.
Because you
Because
saved the song, right?
2 of them actually.
Ooh.
And there were a couple other songs that were close. In Out the Roof, and I think it was Call Me Back that I thought was like just like worth going back to consider throwing in the playlist. The 2 that made my playlist are Beauty and Death and Wasted. Beauty and Death being the title track, being by far my favorite song on this album, and it's not even close.
My second favorite.
It has
So I'm
such
there.
a catchy element to it that I don't know how else to describe,
It's a
but it's
vibe.
amazing.
Uh-huh.
And then Wasted kind of surprised me when the guitars came back in. The guitars kind of just show up every once in a while on this album. And
Yeah.
whenever they show up, I'm like, I want them more.
That's me with a saxophone, you know. But I feel like at the same time, like they're put there in such a way that when they do hit, it's like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
Like obviously you want more, but I feel like it adds more to almost interspersed throughout the album. Because then it makes those moments more meaningful.
Like, I've only heard
I don't know.
Out the Roof like maybe 2 or 3 times, but I still have that like subtle guitar tone in my head
Yeah.
when I'm thinking about it right now. And I think that just like goes to show like how much talent they have to
Mm-hmm.
just be able to make that happen. Same with Wasted, which I've also only given a handful of listens, but Beauty and Death is really just the standout on this song. And I think the moment that when I was listening to the song, I expected to not really like much of it. And albeit I don't like very much of it, but the moment that I heard Beauty and Death, I was like, all right, now I have a baseline for what I like of this band. I think I can go back and appreciate more of it now.
Yeah, for sure.
Because now I know what I'm looking for in a Chase Atlantic song. So
Similar to how I felt with you about the Born of Osiris single, if there was one album that I could pick out of the 6 that I would have been like, yeah, Jake wouldn't like this one, it would be this album. So even just one song.
yeah.
I feel like at this point, I'm less reviewing it and more trying to sell it to people who didn't like it. Right? I'm like, yeah, no, you need to go back and re-listen. Like, oh yeah, I'm really glad you liked this song. But yeah, no,
They both
I
lead
think
towards the same purpose.
yeah, if you've heard what Chase Atlantic has done before and you didn't like it, I have a feeling like if you couldn't find anything to love in their previous material, I don't know if you'll find anything to like here, because it feels like a culmination of all of that put into one package. But if there are Chase songs that you've enjoyed, definitely give this a listen, because if you like Chase, then there's, in any capacity, then there is lots of love here. But I think I've said not only all that can be said, but more than can be said about this album.
I don't have
I'm happy to move
anything
on.
else to add as well. So let's get into the trifecta of albums from March the 19th. So on top of the fucking 15 singles, we got 3
trifecta of
albums.
4 elements.
Yep, true. We got this insane trifecta of albums, starting with Landmarks, Lost in the Waves.
I can't escape, my body's frozen to the bone. I see your face and now I feel.
I want you guys to go first.
All right, I'll start, I guess.
Go ahead.
Because I only liking Paralyzed and Overrated going into this album. I did not have very high expectations. But bar Say No Word, I liked pretty much all of the non-singles here. And I enjoyed this album
Really?
more than I expected to.
So, Say No Word is a song I would like to learn because he talks so fucking fast. Yes. I think it'd be cool just to wherever he says. I don't even know what he's saying, but
I'm pretty sure that was
Also-
word for word, actually.
Yeah. Got that one.
And
out
then
fast.
the breakdown at the end of Say No Word. Oh,
Say No Word is the classic Landmarks went too heavy for me.
Okay.
mm.
Yeah.
So
That's.
I'll
I
just
think
leave it
that's
at
the
that.
one song of the non-singles that I like, actually, because the rest of them are like kind of to me.
I think I can agree with you on Visage, which is the most experimental song on the album by far. Which it opens up with like the French rap bit, which just threw me for a fucking loop. And I still don't think I like it, but I don't really know.
I think
It's just kind of there.
I think it's one of the better ones of the non-singles, but yeah, Say No Word is the only song I saved other than the singles, so that tells you.
I thought Silent, Tired of It All, and Always were all just solid songs. I mean, like, I like 80% of my time with this album has been just re-listening to Overrated because I cannot get that song out of my head. But those other 3 songs that I previously mentioned are all in my playlist for me to listen to every once in a while, and I'm never upset when I listen to them. Like, they aren't the best songs on the album, but they're solid and I enjoy them. It's just that usually then I'm like, oh yeah, Overrated is a song.
Exactly like that.
Let the
too.
metalcore consume me
Right.
in Overrated.
I think it's really interesting. The single selection is the first 2 and the last 2 songs.
Yeah, that is interesting.
I hadn't noticed that until you said that, actually.
My
a good
opinion
point.
on Lost in a Wave and Rainfall has not changed, by the way. I still don't really like either of them.
My opinion on Rainfall has changed,
Mine has
and
too.
I like it more.
I do as well.
So,
Our-
Derek, what else you got? Since you were waiting for us to go.
I needed to read the room because this is currently a top 5 album of 2021 for me,
Interesting.
and I would never have anticipated it based on the singles. Like, never.
The singles do not paint what the album is like.
No,
I don't
no,
think.
not at all.
Yeah.
It actually it hurt me to hear that Visage was on the bottom half because that is my favorite song on this record, and it's not even close. I don't know what the hell he's saying. I have literally no idea. I haven't bothered to translate it. I don't care because it goes dummy hard. Like I don't know what he's saying, but it's great. I love the delivery. I put this on in my car on the way to work about a week and a half ago because I hadn't heard it yet. And I was like, all right, yeah, Lost in a Wave, like it's fantastic. I know this breakdown smacks. It is what it is. Move on. The moment I listened to Rainfall and liked what I was hearing, I knew I was in for a treat. Right? Because like I didn't like Rainfall at all. I'd revisited it prior to the album. It was that same sort of thing that I mentioned with the Chase Atlantic singles, where like I listened to them a bunch and I couldn't get with it, and then I waited a bit and I heard it again. I really like Rainfall now. And then it doesn't stop from there on out. I like every single track on this album. I think if this were 3 tracks longer, I don't think I would like it as much. I think it's the perfect length. It's effectively 9 songs, right? Because Shoreline's just 30 seconds of waves on a beach.
Yeah.
I don't know if I could handle 3 more songs of this in a cohesive thing and listen to it as much as I did, but this, outside of maybe Chase, I think this is the album I listened to the most this month.
That's crazy.
Even though it wasn't... Chase isn't my favorite album release this month, and neither is Landmarks, but they were the 2 I probably listened to the most. And Landmarks is more by virtue of, I can't believe I like this as much as I do. I wasn't expecting to like this as much as I do, and then I just played it over
I think
and
we're
over
kind of
again.
in that same boat of where we didn't expect to like it as much as we did. You just took that to the next step up.
Yeah, it grows on me more and more with every, like even the parts that I didn't like as much, which I guess coming to mind would be the delivery in the, I guess, quote unquote chorus of Say No Word. I remember listening to Tired of It All. I didn't expect that breakdown at all. And
Yeah, it
like
kinda just came out of nowhere.
there was, I'm gonna see if my mic picks this up because I doubt it will. I'm probably gonna peek. But there was, I was looking at it and I had my like mouth like gape. Like I was like, what the fuck happened? Like what am I listening to? The song changed and I was really enjoying it. And then he went for like the like that and I was like, holy shit. I like
Yeah, the mic didn't really pick it up.
I made the stank face and I was like, oh. Like, I looked at my the little like screen in my car and I was like, oh my goodness. Like I had to go down, like, open up my phone, I like flipped the song back, I had to hear it again. And I think that was the moment that I was sold on. Just like overall. I really like this. This came out of left field. I wouldn't, based on the singles, I didn't expect this to get anywhere near my top 10. And then the songs that I heard were just not represented by the singles at all, and I loved it. And even the singles, the parts of the singles that I wasn't as high on, particularly Rainfall and Overrated, I wasn't super feeling. But now I love them. I really do. I enjoy everything about this.
One more honorable moment of appreciation for Paralyzed as the closer as well.
Big facts. It works so well. Like on paper, obviously it worked great, but then I heard it and I was like,
Yeah.
I just yeah,
Yeah.
right? It
Yeah.
just works.
I don't know if I have much more to say.
No, I don't either.
It's a very interesting album.
It is. It is an
Yeah.
interesting album. That I
At
just
times it
happened to
almost felt a
enjoy.
little disjointed to me, not nearly to the same degree as A Day to Remember, but I still enjoyed it much more than I expected to, and I'm more than happy with that.
Yeah, for me that disjoint, it's made up by the fact that every song feels like it has still some integral part of Landmark's identity to it, as opposed to like ADTR, which is just all over the place with no soul. You know, Jake,
Yep.
tell me about this next one.
Yeah, so the long-awaited sophomore album from Rivals, Sad Looks Pretty on Me. I have been waiting for this album for so goddamn long, and I am so goddamn happy that I have it now. Okay, let's start with my reaction on first listen, because I was underwhelmed on first listen, to say the least.
Interesting.
And considering the high expectations I had, I was skeptical on if this was maybe even top 10. And then the rest of the month went by, and every single song on this album has just gotten better and better with time. Even the ones that I'm not as high on, like Little Mistakes and Change Things. This album is incredible all the way around, and I think this is going to come off as a strange comparison, a really fucking strange comparison. But at this point, I'm comparing this to Polaris, in the sense that Polaris came out with their album last year with the singles of Hypermania and Landmine, two of my most played singles of 2019.
Don't
Rivals
forget
have
Masochist.
effectively... Masochist I didn't listen to that much, but same, a little under. Rivals have come out and done the same thing with Fake Rich and Sad Looks Pretty on Me, two songs that I have listened to death at this point and still love them. And then the rest of the album, not as much. But I think I am significantly higher on the rest of this album than I was with the rest of Polaris, and that has only changed with time. This band is incredible, and I think the thing that makes this album stand out to me the most, just comes out of left field, is the fact that the bridges of most of these songs are somehow the most memorable points of the song. Like, when you think of a song, the most memorable parts are usually either a sick breakdown or a chorus, or maybe a verse in like the rare case of like a talk to a friend.
Mhm.
Rivals has a way of making the bridges of the song the most interesting and memorable parts of songs. Like, you think about the bridge in Alkaline, which has the sick drum beat behind it. You think about the bridge, aka breakdown of Fake Rich, which is madness. The best part of Strawberries is the bridge in that song as well. And then we get to the fucking heartbreaker that is Too Dumb. I have never seen a band nail the bridge into a final chorus as much as Rivals has done with this album. And in reference to Dom, I have never seen, I don't know if there's any band out there that is able to close an album like Rivals is. Following up to Layla from Damn Soul with To Dom is, I would not, like, if they are able to keep that trend up with every album in the future, I'm going to eat that shit up. For as much as that those two songs have made me cry over the years, I need more of it, because the emotional outcry of both of those songs through Kaylee's voice is just unbelievable.
Mm.
And I know I'm like specifically highlighting To Dom here, but the
I
triple
want to highlight
threat,
it as well.
yeah, I'll let you get into more detail on that one. But the triple threat of Are You Listening, To Dom, and Why to close out this album, when most of this album, there's like a bunch of singles, and then the middle of the album is filled with Dead Flowers, Little Mistakes, Change Things, On the Loose. 4 songs that I really wasn't that high on first listen. To bookend this album with Are You Listening into To Dom, into the closing track Why, is probably one of the best 3 songs to close an album I have heard in a long fucking time. Are You Listening being my favorite of the non-singles by far. That song has not gotten out of my head. I have some lyrics here from that song, which I think lead into To Dom perfectly, which I didn't catch on first listen. But part of the lyrics of the first verse of Are You Listening is, I can't blame her for what she did. I just needed someone there to listen. I was 15 thinking that I shouldn't exist. Head deep down to the bottom of a bottle while skiing down a mountain, not praying for tomorrow. And then if you take that verse and with the context of what To Dom is about, like, no band closes out an album like Rivals does. That's the point I'm trying to make here. the closing, not only to this album, I know we're focusing on Sad Looks Pretty on Me, but even in Damned Souls, the way that they close out that album and the way they close out this album, no band does it like Rivals, in my opinion. And with all that being said, Jacob, I will hand it over to you to talk about 2DOM before I talk about a few other things.
So you're gonna have to correct me because I don't know the full story here, but I believe 2DOM is about what's her name, Kaylee's nephew, right?
Yep.
And it's about this nephew's mom committed suicide, and in the bridge of the song, she reads out the mom's suicide note.
Yep.
And I was driving home, and I literally was crying on the way home. I was like, holy shit, I did not expect this. Like, blast of emotion.
Yeah. Kaylee's voice is unbelievable. The amount of emotion she is able to convey with her voice throughout the entire album is, like, almost unlike any other female voice that I've ever heard. Like, definitely one of my favorite female vocalists that I've ever heard, like, out of any of the bands that I listen to. I think I'm at a point where I wasn't convinced on first listen, but after some more time, I'm convinced Rivals are one of my top 10 favorite bands. And this album just sealed the deal for me on that one.
Yeah, her to me, her delivery is like that. Cause there was an inflection on one word that she said where it reminded me instinctively of somebody else. And the best like comparison I could think of is that she feels like a combination of Lynn Gunn from Paris and Sia, like the one who sings Chandelier. Like, there was some aspect of the way that those two sing, and I mean, like, there's plenty of other, like, oh god, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, not distinctions, subtleties, maybe, to Kaylee's voice that makes her, like, all her own sing. But it's, like, the best parts of those other two artists put together into this one really nice package. I agree with you. I love her voice. And she sounds great live, too.
I want to see them live so badly. I'm still a little upset that they didn't make it to the New England section of the Swaves tour, because Rivals and Swaves did a tour in 2019, but Rivals didn't come to Hartford, which is where I saw them live, and I'm still just a little upset about that. But I'll get to see them live eventually if this COVID shit ever ends. But who knows?
Let's move to New Zealand, guys.
Exactly. Yeah.
If only it was that easy.
Yeah, I had the pleasure of seeing her live with Brent Walsh of I the Mighty, Landon Tours of The Plot and You, and Tillian. That was a beautiful tour. I was very happy with that. This album was really good. I think I agree with you. I liked it more than I expected to based on the singles.
Me too.
I think that the non-singles are the strongest ones on it. Personally, I think that the four song run of Change Things through 2DOM is really, really good. Change Things being my favorite song in this album, and it's not even close.
I remember you saying that you weren't sure on that feature the first time.
I wasn't, and then I listened again, and I was, and then I listened again, and I was. Yeah,
it's a great feature. Like I had never heard of Dutch Melrose before, but great feature.
No, yeah, they're two different features. This and the Elijah Witt feature are two that you would like absolutely not expect on this album, but they both work really, really well. Yeah, this. The first half is pretty distinct from the second half, I feel like.
Yeah.
Or at least Lavenders through Strawberries is different. Sad Looks Pretty, I mean, kind of a sad tone. Kind of more lighthearted, pop-esque, kind of hinting at things. And the second half is just, like, bombarding you. Like, what's that lyric from Are You Listening? Hold on. I have to find it. Are You Listening? Rivals.
Oh,
lyrics.
I looked up. I couldn't find the lyrics anywhere.
I can't blame her for what she did. I just needed someone there to listen.
Yeah, that's
I was
exactly
15 thinking that I shouldn't exist. Head deep to the bottom of a bottle. Like, that is different than Strawberries and Lavender. Right? Like, that's. It hit harder than I was anticipating it to in that second half. But I think that the album as a whole, despite there being that not necessarily distinct but noticeable difference, I think overall just the sound and tone work really well as a whole. I'm happier with this album than I intended it to. This, to me, how we were talking about potential, like top 10 candidates earlier on that have yet to release. This for me is one of those where it has potential top 10 come the end of the year when I review everything. Because like we have 9 months left, obviously, but right now this is sitting pretty in my top 10. So
This is certainly sitting pretty in my top 5 right now. And it's
yeah, absolutely.
not particularly
Understandably
close. I think the last point that I want to make that I have not really made yet is the fact that the more I've listened to Sad Looks Pretty on Me, which is the opening track and the title track of this album, I said it in our group chat, but the more I've convinced myself that this song has Talk to a Friend energy.
Okay.
Where it has the same energy as Talk to a Friend by Slaves. Where it's like, I wouldn't talk to a friend the way I talk to myself. I sure know how to make sad look pretty on me. Or make sad look good on me or whatever. That it kind of has the same energy to me. And ever since I made that connection, I have nearly convinced myself that it's my favorite song I've heard all year. And like, I don't know if it's going to be. It probably won't be. But like, it is so hard for me to try and figure out whether I like Sad Looks Pretty on Me or Fake Rich more. Because both songs are so good for separate reasons. Because like Fake Rich is like, it has that blend of like the hip hop elements in the verses with the heavy chorus and the sick as fuck breakdown. And then Sad Looks Pretty on Me is just the catchiest song I've heard all year, like probably bar none. And just overall, I am in love with this album. I was skeptical on first listen. The more I have listened to it, the more positive I am that this is going to be one of my favorite albums all year.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of catchy, there was a great pop sensibility, I guess, throughout a lot of this album. I think the catchiest part to me is that electronic, I guess, maybe beat in the background of On the Loose. That to me is the thing that sticks with me the most out of everything on this album, in terms of like repetitive, or
it's definitely the most experimental on the album.
Yeah, it's like a Silk and Satin from Stand Atlantic last year. Almost, actually, not necessarily like word for word, but concept for concept. You know, having that constant experimental beat in the background and doing. Yeah, actually, that is. It is the Silk and Satin of this album, and I love it. But yeah, no, definitely.
With all that
being
said, I think we have spent more than enough time discussing this album and singing its praises. So, let's move on. Derek, take the wheel.
With their self-titled album, ERRA. Out now. Boys,
This has been your most anticipated album of the year.
Ever since I heard Snowblood, this was I didn't need any of the other single to tell me that this was my most anticipated album of the year. Then I heard the other singles, and this was my most anticipated album of the year. And then the album dropped. And I don't remember the last time I have been this satisfied with an album on first listen. Like for Slaves last year, right? I was really high on a lot of them. Witch Hunt and Secrets hadn't really sold me at the time. Similarly with Dance Gavin Dance's After. I wasn't super high on a lot of the songs for that one, and those two ended up being my top two of last year with time. I guess what comes to mind is Emarosa's Peach Club in 2019 that I was really satisfied with on first listen. So it's been 2 years essentially since I was able to enjoy an album as much as I have this ERRA album. You open with my number one song of last year, Snowblood, and it just doesn't stop. Right? It's like 50 minutes of gent, essentially, but it's like progressive metalcore infused gent in a way that is so distinctly ERRA that it's hard to listen to an ERRA song, even though they have influences from so many other bands, and not think this is ERRA, which I think that they achieved well on Neon, but any missteps on Neon, which was their last album in 2018. I think a lot of the missteps there were in production, and a lot of the songs didn't have their own identity, and it was kind of muddled. With this, man, it just feels like everything pops into place. Like, there's something that gives each song its own distinct identity, whether it be a breakdown or, like, for instance, in a Lunar Halo, that, like, minute-long kind of reverb electronic element to it. What sticks out the most to me on this album is definitely the guitar riff after the first breakdown, or after the main breakdown, I should say, in Gungrave. There's this little, like, guitar lick there that I was like, holy shit. And I played it for my dad, and he was like, yeah, I don't know how he does that. Like, that should not be possible, right?
You're talking about the guitar solo during the breakdown at the end?
Of Gungrave?
Yeah. Like, not a solo, but...
No. It's after the main breakdown, and it's like a... Okay, really slow, yeah. But okay. It's like that little bit, and it's just... the instrumentation on this album is perfect. I'm throwing that out there. I'm dying on that hill. I can find no flaws. There's nothing more that I want from this album instrumentally, and you know what? I think that's what I love most about this album, is that it feels like fan service. Like, there, on any given moment, I could say, I want a solo here. I want a breakdown here. And lo and behold, I'm going to get a solo there, or I get a breakdown there. And if it's at a point where I think there should be one, I get something else in its place that somehow works better. Like, I feel like for what it's trying to do, and in terms of an overall album, I don't really have any flaws with it. Like, I feel like no song overstays its welcome. It does everything it needs to do. Like, even the 6-minute Lunar Halo, for me, I listen to that song and it feels like 3.5, 4 minutes. Like, it doesn't feel like it's runtime, because there's enough going on and enough variation in every song that makes it worth it to listen to it. Like, the on-paper replayability of this album is not great, but then you hear it, and at least for me, it was like, okay, yeah, every song has its own personality. Every song works beautifully. The instrumentals are fantastic. Vocals, by God, the fact that Jesse does this level of guitar work while singing is inhuman. Like, I don't know how he does it. I'm convinced he sold his soul to the devil or some shit. Like, that's the only explanation I can think of, right? And then we got JT doing all sorts of ranges of uncleans, even as far low as doing Tunnel Throat in Scorpion Hymn. And then he does cleans on, I think it's 2 songs on here. It's brief, but even so. I mean, it's just, this band has such a range, but at the same time, they've got a sound that works so well for them to stick to. I don't know. I know that I'm probably, if not definitely, the highest out of everybody on this album. Yeah. As somebody who hasn't liked any of their material enough to save it prior to whatever production switch they made when they covered You Think I Ain't Worth $1, but I Feel Like $1 million bucks.
Did you like Eye of God?
No. Because it suffers from the same problem as Neon for me, that the instrumentals feel a little muddled together and too pronounced over the vocals. This, to me, feels masterfully mixed and produced. You can hear every instrument, and your experience with this album, I feel like, at least it has some changes based on what instrument you decide to focus on. Like, everybody gets a time to shine on this album. It's just incredible. This is currently sitting at my album of the year position. Full disclosure. I don't know what else could displace it that's currently slated to come out. I mean, there's been enough surprises this year that maybe, but I'm blown away, not only by the album, but by how much I like it based on how I wasn't feeling their previous material. This is what a self-titled should be. It is a statement. It is their best work to date. I feel. I don't know. I've said it before. I'll say it again. I love everything about this album. This is my highest recommend. End scene. Hit me with it.
Yeah, you're okay. So I loved Drift. I love Neon. And I'm listening to all, like, as you guys heard it when I was talking about all the singles, except for Scorpion Hymn, which is kind of in its own boat. But anyways, I was not totally sold, and I've been trying to figure out why. And I finally figured out what it is.
Okay.
And it is that this album, the singles, they don't have the same emotion as Neon or Drift. And that is what is bugging me.
Okay.
That is why I am not sold on this album.
You know what?
I'm with you.
I don't think I can entirely latch onto it, having not heard any of ERRA's previous material, but I think I can kind of agree with you on that front, in that the lyricism on some of these songs just is kind of out there.
Yep.
And I can't connect to it.
Yep. It's like old ERRA, like before they switched to JT as their vocalist. The only song I can kind of feel it in is the closer, Memory Fiction, where Jesse just goes off.
Beautiful ballad-esque song on an album where I was not at all expecting to have one. Right? You know what, Jacob? I can absolutely see that, and I don't disagree. Actually, I wholeheartedly agree with you. I think that this lyricism is, like Jake said, too out there. However, I don't think it's a flaw because I think it all sounds, and like, if I can't understand what they're saying half the time, then I don't have a problem with it, right? Like, I'm listening to these songs because I think that they sound good, and I very, very, very much enjoy the way that they make me feel. Like, I am feeling good and attached to this album because of the way that they sound sonically, not the way that they sound lyrically. Like, that's the sort of thing that I'm looking for in ERRA. I'm looking for, like, instrumentation and musicianship rather than something that I can attach myself to.
That's something I would look for in, like, an Ice Nine Kills, or what's another example? Can't think of it. But the Ice Nine Kills is the one that comes to mind, where I don't really care about the lyrical content because I love the sound.
Yeah, you know what it is? It's the opposite of Too Close to Touch for me. Because Too Close to Touch, I've identified so much with, like, their lyricism, right? And, like, the way that what those lyrics mean to me, that when I get something that may be more pop-inspired or less personal, I'm not as high on it. And I guess what it comes down to is what bands you attach yourself to emotionally.
Exactly. I think that's exactly it.
Because I have no emotional attachment to ERRA, so I'm not looking for that, whereas you do, and so you're looking for something that's not quite there, right?
Exactly.
Okay. Yeah, I can see that.
I think that's what's been bugging me since Snowblood has released, and it finally hit me like 2 weeks ago.
This has just been like a 3 hours of revelations, hasn't it? Like, we've all been figuring shit out. I don't know. I think. I mean, I don't want to spend too much time on it for time reasons, and also because I feel like I've said all that I can say and all that. But yeah, this is ultimately really good progressive metalcore. What you make of it is up to you. I think would be a good way to sum up this album. If you're just looking for a good time, absolutely. If you're looking for something to attach yourself to lyrically, the lyrics are deep, but not emotionally. They're complex in a very smart, maybe almost too smart way, I guess would be how I would put it. But, yeah, no,
so I
overall,
guess
very
off
happy.
of that note, a lot of the songs kind of blended in with each other for me. not to, and I mean, it's undeniable the amount of talent that every single person in this band has.
Oh, 100%.
But a lot of the songs, like, towards the latter half of the album, like, if you asked me to, like, identify the difference between Lunar Halo, Vanish Canvas, Eidolon, and Remnant, I wouldn't be able to tell you.
Lunar Halo's the one with the ambient,
Electronic ambient
electronic.
intro, yeah.
I mean, I have not spent nearly enough
I
time
think-
with that song. But
I think Scorpion Hymn is my favorite song.
my favorite song is still Snowblood. That has not changed since the moment I heard Snowblood.
I feel like I almost can't claim Snowblood as my favorite song because it's too obvious. Like, I feel like 2020 claims Snowblood as my favorite song, so now, like, I can't.
If we're
You know
talking
what I'm
about
saying?
second
Like-
favorites, though,
Gungrave?
but
Gungrave.
when I heard
It does-
Gungrave, shit got real, and I was having considerations of, does this have top 10 potential?
But
Like,
it doesn't make sense because Scorpion Hymn is complete opposite of what I want.
That is, I think this album has a lot of that for me. That, like, I don't know why I like some of the stuff on this album as much as I do. Like House of Glass, it's just like, it's like a Tool and Meshuggah had a kid. And I despise Tool, and I can't fuck with Meshuggah, and suddenly I really love House of Glass.
ERRA made a playlist on their Spotify that showed all the inspirations, and Tool is one of them.
That doesn't surprise me at all.
I need to find it now.
Hold on, I'll investigate.
I do want to elaborate on Gungrave a bit, because I feel like we've talked very general about this album and not a lot on the specific songs, because
Yeah.
my god, Gungrave is a roller coaster of metalcore.
It's beautiful.
It's like, when I heard, I knew Snowblood and Divisionary were my favorite songs of the singles. I didn't really enjoy Shadow Autonomous or House of Glass all too much. When I hear Gungrave in between Snowblood and Divisionary, and I'm like, okay, this is a sick 3-run song to open this album, I'm thinking this album has some serious potential. And then by the end of it, it all just kind of blends in, and I'm almost getting sick of the sound, but it doesn't invalidate how incredible those first 3 songs are for me.
Yeah.
And overall, like, I can appreciate this album more on a single by single basis rather than as a full album. And honestly, I'm fine with that. So
Yeah, there's enough of a cohesive sound throughout it that you have to like that cohesive sound in order to get through the album. And, like, for you, obviously, that was not the case.
yeah,
For me,
I enjoyed
was.
it at times. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But I also didn't enjoy it at other times.
Well, that's part of what made me like it so much, is that I could find that if I like that cohesive, then I can spend more time on the nuances of the album, and that caused me to like it more because I don't have to worry about whether or not I like the core sound because I've already been sold on it, you know? So it's definitely like a huge bridge to cross, and yeah. But
I don't see it on their Spotify anymore.
I didn't
but
either. I looked.
That's unfortunate.
There was a behind the scenes video on YouTube to look at where they talked about the writing process and influences. But anyway, I digress. I think all
We've
has
said
been
enough?
said
Yeah.
that can be said.
So that takes us to our final album of March.
Whew!
Jesus Christ, we finally made it. And we have finally made it to the debut album from As Everything Unfolds. Within each lies the other. And this, alongside Rivals in Normandy, were 3 of my most anticipated albums of the early months of this year. And this album is everything I hoped it would be and more. I am in love with this album, and the fact that the fact that we are 3 months into the year and I already have 3 albums which are on par with my top 5 of 2020 is nuts. Like, if I were to put Normandy, Rivals, and As Everything Unfolds, if I were to slot those into my rankings of last year, they would all fall between, like, the number 2 to number 6 spot. And we're only 3 months into this year, so, like, how much is that leaving for the rest of this year?
Right.
If, like, these first few months are already that fucking good. But this album, you mentioned it with ERRA, I think, where like it was like fan service. Like you listen to a song and it's like, I want a breakdown now. You get a breakdown now. When
Yeah,
I'm listening to this album, they know exactly what I want at every fucking moment, and it just works so well. Like, On the Inside is a fantastic opener. Take Me There, Wallow, also both fantastic. But I think like you get a smooth transition from Stranger in the Mirror into I'm Not the Only One if you play it, the full album through. You don't notice it like just listening to them like separately, but together they like smoothly transition into one another, which is fantastic. And then you go from Stay into Let Me Go, which is near the end of the album, and Let Me Go has this like 45-second build up, which is that perfect kind of timing in the album to let you just kind of process everything that you have just heard in anticipation for what's coming next. And it's like that's the type of shit that like, all right, I just finished an awesome song, now I need like a bit of a build up to like create that atmosphere. And guess what? I get that fucking build up that I wanted. And like outside of those aspects of it, instrumentally and vocally, there's so much goddamn talent in this band. It is unreal. Charlie's vocals, like both her unqueens and her queens, have their moments to shine in almost every song on this album. Her unqueens, particularly on Wallow, and her queens in particular in the chorus of Stay, which quickly became my favorite of the non-singles and is closely contesting Wallow for my favorite song on this album. I noted down the chorus of that song, which I think I haven't entirely pieced together like the theming or the message of the album and like how it all connects from song to song, but I have pieced together that idea of within each lies the other to the chorus of Stay, where it says, time will pass and ghosts will linger, doomed to haunt these walls forever. Say you'll stay and I'll run further, further than ever before. So that idea of ghosts haunting these walls forever, I think kind of ties into the idea of within each lies the other. So we all have a ghost, we all kind of have a shadow, which comes into play into hiding myself, where it's like I'm hiding from myself, my shadow is overwhelming me or overtaking me or something like that. I haven't pieced it together, but I can see the elements that are starting to form the web, and I think like given a couple more weeks, a couple more months with this, like I'll be able to fully piece it together and fully appreciate the masterpiece that this album is. So, Derek, Jacob, if you guys have any thoughts, let it rip.
I was just gonna say, full disclosure, I am not sold on the uncleans in this.
Yeah, I don't think I entirely am either. I definitely prefer her queen vocals to the unqueen vocals, but I still think there are a lot of moments where they work.
Yeah, the uncleans are kind of what's holding me back from liking this album more than I do. With that said, I think that the last 6 tracks on this album, Grayscale through Wither, are like a near perfect 6-song run.
Yeah.
I agree with you for the most part on it being like the same sort of fan service thing, because I noticed that as well listening to it. I wanted the breakdown there. God bless.
But yeah, especially at the end of Let Me Go, where you have this build up into the final. That breakdown gave me chills the first time I heard it.
The one place I feel like it doesn't work is the breakdown at the end of Grayscale. I felt like the tone of that song, like it worked well enough, I guess, but it almost felt like it didn't fit, and I was a little off put by it, I guess. Like there wasn't anything in the rest of the song that had like indicated to me that I was gonna get a breakdown there. Yeah. So like it was a good breakdown,
and then it starts to build up, and it's a sick
right,
breakdown.
Right. I don't know how well it fit, and when I get something like the transition from, I believe it's like you mentioned, Stranger in the Mirror into I'm Not the Only One, right? Yep. Where it transitions like flawlessly.
Yep.
There is I don't know what part of the drum it is, but there is a strong drum beat at the end of On the Inside that does not lead seamlessly at all into Take Me There, which bothered me to no end. Like more so than it had any right doing. Like I played it afterwards, and it worked pretty well with Black Lungs by Architects. It's
funny.
the transition I ended up doing there. Which again, like, it's very, my issues with this album are either like personal preference or very small nitpicky things.
Yeah.
I think objectively, this is a very good album with, like you mentioned, a theme that I can't quite piece together yet,
Mhm.
but probably one of the, I don't know how to phrase it, one of the albums that I think I'll end up revisiting the most this year on the grounds that I want to unpack more about it, like both in the theme and like musically,
Mhm.
whether it be instrumentally, vocally, whatever, because I think it has a lot of potential for me to like it more than I do, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
You know, I need to give it time, is basically what I need. But with the one listen I've given it, overall, I'm pretty happy with what I heard, especially considering I have like no previous experience with this band besides the singles.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's all fair, for sure. I think there are definitely a couple little nitpicky things that I have with this album as well. Where Wither being the closing track, ending on such a harsh cut, kind of bothered me. Where I think usually, like, it's a bit of a slower closing track, and just to end on like a fast line, and it just like fades out in 2 seconds, and then the album's done. That, like, given like the amount of how well the pacing for the rest of the album was, that was a little bit off-putting to me. But I still think it works enough to not bother me enough either. But like, other than that, like, I really did not have many nitpicky issues with this album. Like, as it was with you and ERRA, like, this album, whenever I wanted something, this band gave it to me. And it was just an awesome first listening experience. Like, when I heard this album for the first time, I was confident that I liked this more than Rivals already. And now, like, the scales have definitely tipped closer to one another, for sure. But that first listen of this album was something else. It was not all first listens. I am not so confident in an album on first listen like I was with this album here. And I don't think I have too much more to add. I don't know, Jacob, if you got a chance to listen to any of it. But
So I listened to like half of it because I was listening to it while driving. So, and I think I agree with Derek where sometimes the uncleans don't sit that well with me. Yeah, that's that's kind of how I feel. I still need to finish listening to it, but
that's fair, yeah. I mean, as we have said many times throughout this episode, there was an unreal amount of music for us to talk about and cover this month. So, not being able to get to everything is just like I wouldn't expect anyone to be able to get to everything this month.
No, I feel like later on in the year, and even like probably this first part of April, there will be a good lull in releases that we can spend some time with a lot of the stuff that we missed or needed more time with from March, you know?
Yeah.
This included.
This has definitely been like one of the craziest months that we have covered in our year of doing this podcast.
I think it is the craziest.
Like, it's in close contention with August of last year, maybe October of last year too. But
yeah, just so much, and so much good too. I mean, I think
so much.
This is probably my favorite release month, just overall, tied with maybe August of last year, but just so much good to unpack this month, and that I still have to unpack too with backlog, whether it be here stuff I had on my own, you know. But
I think that kind of takes us out of the album discussions into our closing thoughts for this extremely long recap episode. So, I don't know if there's any last words that you guys want to mention at this point, but if not, then I think we're ready to wrap things up until our April recap in a month from now. And or if we get another After Hours episode in.
For sure.
Throughout the month. Which I guess I'll use that as an open invitation to, if there's any band that we discussed on this month's episode that wants to sit down and chat with us, we are more than welcome to.
Or any band listening.
Or any band listening, that is true. Yeah. So with that being said, if you've listened all the way through to this point, thank you very much. This is probably going to be our longest episode ever up to this point. So we appreciate anyone that listens to us as per usual. You can find the Spotify playlist for the recap that we talked about for everything we talked about in this episode in the YouTube description or at our Linktree link. You can follow us on social media at HivemindRadio_ on Instagram and Twitter. And subscribe to our YouTube channel so you don't miss us live doing these recap podcasts.
Yeah,
And
you get
that's
the more
about
scuffed
all-
version.
Yep, that's
If you
about
get them
all
live.
Exactly.
I have to say.
Like Jake said, appreciate everybody. And again, check out all the bands that we talked about if you can. I mean, especially
I have a
smaller ones
question though. Is Justin still here?
I'm about to say.
He's here. He's alive.
Exactly where that was going.
Yeah, it's being a man with the busiest schedule of us all to listen to all this music. And no
Fucking
way.
hell.
So, Justin, do you feel like you missed out on anything?
You know what? Yeah, probably.
Hell yeah.
He was taking a nap.
We did our job, boys.
You're like, Justin, are you back? He's like, yeah, I missed out on everything. Yeah.
Definitely missed out on the day to remember. Hours I won't get back.
All right, I think that's going to wrap things up for this episode. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you next month.